The much anticipated National Football Show with Big Sills. By the way, we open it up with Big Sills. What a big weekend. By the way, all my prognosticating about the Eagles came to fruition. By the way, I want to thank each and every single one of you guys for jumping aboard with us on the pre- and post-game show. You guys were absolutely sensational. We thank you. Ain't no freaking eating crow with Big Sills. We laid it out for you exactly what would happen in this ball game. And by the way, your boy Hurts, that guy did not play well Friday night. You know, hey, you want to hear this? You know who the best football player in the National Football League was on Sunday? Say it with me. Josh Allen. How are you doing? How about them Cowboys? That was a shocker. Josh Allen. Yeah, TJ Watt was awful good too. He was, man. He wrecked that Atlanta game. Hey, right out of the gate, may I say this to Green Bay Packer fans? Shut your mouth. If anybody in here or anybody watching us thinks that Jalen Carter intentionally injured Jordan Love, you're an asshole. You are an asshole. Things like that in pro football happen. Big Sills was dead on. We could roll the tape back on Friday. What'd I say? If the Philadelphia Eagles ran the ball 25 or more times, they win the game. I didn't believe you were. That's why I picked the Green Bay Packers. What had to be one of the sloppiest games of all time. I flat out said Friday numerous times, if the Packers allow the Eagles to run the ball 25 or more times, the Eagles win the game. How you doing? And your quarterback was the worst dude in the huddle. How you doing? We're going to get to our takeaways here in a minute. And we'll go to the numbers. Let me put this out there for all of you Eagle honks. Jalen Hurts in the last 18 games has 23 turnovers. He's not a championship quarterback right now. How many people in here would go like this? This is called a trend. Dallas has the best quarterback in the division. How about this? Hey, 304. Jalen Hurts has 23 turnovers in 18 games. 23 turnovers. 23 turnovers in 18 games. How many people think that's good football? How many people think that's good football? This guy's going to win games because of the talent on the offense. He's not a championship quarterback. That was a pathetic performance. His late throws and decision-making were awful. Awful. Hurts is 11-3. You know, you mean that team is against. Okay? Jalen Hurts was under 60% in that game completion percentage, and he had 3 turnovers. How you doing? And the only reason you win that game is because Barkley's in the huddle. Wasn't because of your quarterback. One game, this guy says. How about 23 games? All right, how about 18 games? His last 18 games, Hurts. He has 23 turnovers. You can't hide from that. You tell me all the time about Josh Allen. Well, 23 turnovers in 18 games. How you doing? How you doing? One of the sloppiest games of the weekend, too, by the way. Let's get into the takeaways. Because I just don't want to hang a conversation on a guy who was your worst offensive football player. Josh Allen had no picks, ass bag. How you doing? Had 4 touchdowns. And nobody on the team. Okay? And nobody. Get this. Spike. 18 games, 23 turnovers. Eagles scored 34 points. It played average. Scary. And your quarterback was below average. Like I said, if you carried the ball more than 25 times, you were going to win the ball game. And you did. Here we go. Here's the takeaways. Then we'll get into, and by the way, your run defense blows. Don't want to hear that one game. Hold on. Let's get that super chat up. Thank you very much, Flexion. Don't want to hear that one game excuse. Jalen sloppiness says a lot. Paying him too much, says Flexin. Flexin, it's 18 ball games. He's got 23 turnovers. Here we go. 34-29. 34-29. The Eagles win. Jalen made bad decisions, but he was also the reason why we won the game. No, we're not. Saquon Barkley was the reason you won that game, not Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was a 60% quarterback throwing the football in today's NFL is atrocious. It's atrocious. Okay, let's get into the takeaway. By the way, please hit the like button. You guys were great. Thank you very much for the pre- and post-game show. Okay? Thank you. Here we go. What's the record in those games? 0-1 when it matters the most. Playoffs. You could tell one side of the football was ready to play and the other side wasn't ready to play. The exhibition, or their lack of exhibition football for the offense, was clearly on display. And most notably, your quarterback, who was late on throws, poor decision-making. As a passer, not very good. As a runner, what Jalen Hurts did in that football game was because of his legs they won. Nothing he did throwing the ball. I thought the pass to Barkley in the back of the end zone was a great throw. I did, and that was set up by both receivers, Devontae Smith and also with A.J. Brown, and what they played as decoys. And Barkley made a great catch in the back of the end zone. Okay? That was really a great catch by him. I thought the defense actually played better, at least in the first quarter. And the reason that you won the ball game is because of the first quarter. And by the way, your 2 defensive tackles are still out of shape and fat. They got destroyed against the run. They got destroyed. Especially in the second half. Josh Jacobs was almost running the ball at 10 yards a clip. Once again, I say this. That's not a championship football team. That's not a championship defense. They were killed everywhere. It picked up better for the offense as the game went on, but they weren't ready to play. Plain and simple, they were not ready to play. And they, like I said, they did pick the pacing up in the second half. The offense did, but it was because they were trying to run the ball. Packers were at the top of the NFC until we beat them. No, I still think Green Bay was. Now, Green Bay, if Jordan Love is out with significant time, even if he's out 2 months, they're finished. They're absolutely finished. Let me get to a guy, and I love going to Bob because he's the only one out of the gate that's got common sense. Seals, while I agree Jalen Hurts was the worst player in the huddle, he was the player in the huddle most affected by the scheme change. Absolutely. Great take. Jalen's performance in the first 4 games is his stress test. Remember what I told you on Friday, my friend? I told you on Friday, Bob, what? That Jalen was going to have a bumpy start to his season. Well, he did. There were by far 2 stars in this ball game. Zach Bond was out of his mind. He was out of his mind. Great. I mean, holy shit. If it wasn't for Zach Bond, You had no pressure on the quarterback whatsoever. Your front seven stunk at creating pressure. Stunk. And Green Bay doesn't really have a really great O-line. They stunk. Here again, I will go back and say this. They won the game because they kept Green Bay off the scoreboard with touchdowns in the first quarter. They put 14 up, they win. Okay, but they did not allow it. Okay? The two tackles, conditioning. Holy shit, 163 yards rushing. They stunk. They were absolutely terrible in stopping the run. And for that matter, creating pressure on the quarterback. Stunk. And creating pressure. Just terrible. The front seven itself, I thought Josh Sweat played pretty well. Of all the guys up front, I thought he played well. Okay? I did. There was no pressure on the quarterback. They could not stop the run at all, and your quarterback had poor decision-making in the ball game. This reminds me a lot of New England last year. And as I stated, Hurts in 18 games is 23 turnovers. It's now a trend. Is he a turnover machine? He's getting there. He's getting there. Nobody on the planet with any kind of brains. Hey, Bob, since you're the only one in here that is not going to be stupid right now, would you not agree? Did you not agree that last 18 games, 23 turnovers is an awful lot? Right? Okay. Here's Hurts' numbers. 20 of 34, 278, 2 TDs, 2 picks, 58.8 completion percentage in a league that favors quarterbacks at around 65%. He was terrible on late on throws, had an 80 quarterback rating, had 3 turnovers in the game. There were numerous other opportunities that he was late on throws. It was all over the joint. And like Bob said, there is absolutely no question he's been affected by the change at the quarterback position. And you saw it in the game on Friday. Didn't it look like Nick Sirianni had his hands in play calling, red zone, the second half with the shotgun, no running back formations? Actually, Surgical, I'm going to say no, because you know what's the one thing you notice, Surgical? Nick Sirianni was nowhere around Jalen Hurts at any time in that game during the sequences when the offense was on the field or off the field. He had no say. He'd go over to the receivers, the O-line, talk to the defense. But at the end of the day, he had nothing to – he never spoke to Jalen Hurts one time during that football game. And I thought that that was maybe by design. Okay? I did. I thought that was maybe by design. Okay? Because he was nowhere to be seen. Hurts was so bad, yeah, but they won. True. But we said that all last year as well. And then come playoffs, Tampa Bay knew how to shut them down. I'll say it one more time to you. The offense, if it wasn't for Barkley, he was the star of the ball game. I got game balls to give out too, and we'll go to the numbers here in a minute. But if it wasn't, you take Barkley's 34, if you take Barkley's 34-yard runaway, they barely ran the ball. Amberler for Bryce Huff. We'll get to that guy. Holy shit, is he nowhere to be seen? Nolan Smith, too. A.J. Brown was a force. 5 catches, 119, touchdown. He is a beast after he catches the football. There's no getting around it. He is a beast, man. I mean, wow. It is hard to get him on the ground, and he is difficult, even in double teams. I thought Reed Blankenship played really well. He had a really good Friday night. Bunch of tackles, a pick. I mean, he did really well. I thought he played center field for them. And in that 2 high safety, I thought he played pretty well. I thought Kellen Moore's offense. One thing I noticed about Kellen Moore's offense, the wide receiving routes, and I mentioned this in the postgame show, they were just better designed. I mean, they looked like pro routes on what you saw on Friday night. He had a really good sense of designing plays. And you saw that put out on display. Okay? Yeah, the difference between Mahomes and Hurts is he wins Super Bowls. Your guy gets beat by Baker Mayfield. Hey, I got a question for Cleveland Brown fans that check in here. One question for you. Would you rather have Baker Mayfield right now, or would you rather have Deshaun Watson? Who would you rather have? Mike Zimmer will have Jalen in hell. Mike Zimmer did a great job. Now, remember, they're missing their 2 tackles and Chubb, but Michael Parsons was all over the joint. But, hey, how about this? You look back on that whole nightmare now, Deshaun Watson looks like, I don't know what that is. I mean, he looks like, of all the big money guys, the worst. This guy looks worse than Derek Carr right now. It's crazy to say this. I think the Browns would rather have Baker Mayfield back. We'll talk later on that. Quinyon Mitchell, I thought he played really well. Yeah, he's a pretty good ball player. Yeah, he's coming along. I thought there were times out there that he was route for route. Now, he got beaten, spun around a bunch of times, but he also made a bunch of plays. For his first ball game in the NFL as a corner, he played exceptionally well. I give him high marks. First game, yeah, I thought he played really well. I did. I'll say this one more time to you. That Jordan Love and the Packer fans going nuts on Jalen Carter is ridiculous. That guy did not do that on purpose. Xander, I just missed a super chat. Can we please get that up? All super chats, guys, go to the front here. Daniel Jones, Watson, Bryce Young are all finished. Man, I mean, Daniel Jones. Mike Zimmer will have Jalen in hell. I saw that. Yep. Jordan Davis and Jordan Love, or Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter need to get in better shape. They were out of shape in the second half. They got destroyed against the run. Just destroyed. Now, here's a question for you. Barkley's on pace for 400 carries. You think he can carry that kind of max load the rest of the year? Now, obviously, you're not going to give him 24 carries. But there is no question that they won that ball game because the quarterback was running, not throwing, and the running back was a force in the game. You know what? I'm going to make this prediction also about the New York Giants GM, Joe Schoen. When that general manager in Tennessee got fired because he let A.J. Brown out the building, I don't know how Joe Schoen looks John Mara in the face and just allows Barkley. At least that was a trade. At least Tennessee got a trade for that. It was a first-round trade. You just let Saquon Barkley walk out the building for nothing. And you told him, hey, and you bullshitted him. Joe Schoen is a horrible general manager. It was on display during Hard Knocks. He's going to lose his job. He might be worse than Dave Gettleman. Offensive line is still atrocious. I mean, the New York Giants, they look like the worst team in the league right now. They just look like the worst team in the league. I thought Micaiah Becton played well. Now, let's circle back to the front page here. 34-29. You won. Okay? As bad as that looked, you won against a good team. I don't know what Green Bay was thinking either. Green Bay was all the penalties. That's not an Eagle thing. I'm not making an excuse on why you beat them. That's their problem. Green Bay was sloppy, undisciplined. Guys were dropping footballs all over the place. Their defense is worse than I thought. Yeah, even before Love, you were like this. Jesus criminy. You got to play a little stouter there on defense. Okay? And they couldn't. And they just could not. But they were sloppy. It was a terrible football game with some high drama at the end. Terrible football games can create some drama. Okay? I mean, oh, yeah. Thank you very much, Cosmo. Let me get into this because I said this during the post-game show. The NFL putting those fucking players on a shitty field like that again. Jalen Carter, in my opinion, you could blame all the shit you want on him. But that football field that they put that guy on, you don't put football players on soccer fields. You know why? They're worms that weigh 105 pounds. These are 375-pound men at some spots, 380 in some spots. You don't put a guy that size on a trampoline. You have to have a proper footing to a football field. Okay? That was, again, the NFL and their decision-making and how they do this is ridiculous. Soccer players are little worms. They're little dudes. Pro football players don't play where little dudes play. Okay? They don't. You don't put big dudes on a wormy field. On display again. Hey, another thing. Gardner Johnson? Shit, dude. Play better, kid. Holy shit. What were you doing out there? I mean, how many times was he spun around out there? I mean, Gardner Johnson looked like shit out there. The defense gave up over 4. By the way, you've improved nothing past defense-wise. You've improved nothing against the run. Your linebackers probably played the best out of any unit. My takeaway on Nakobe, hot and cold. There were some sorry-ass plays and there were some good plays. Am I encouraged? A little. Not a lot, a little. Okay? A little. Give him a grade? C. Thought he was average. Zach Bond? Thought he was A+. A+. There were times the Kobe Dean was destroyed in there and covering people out of the backfield. He was terrible. And I agree with some of you in here. Gardner Johnson was the worst defensive football player. You could make an argument, Bryce Huff for him in that game on Friday. Okay? Your two big acquisitions for Howie, $8 million a year and $17.4 a year, were terrible. They were terrible. Terrible football. You get the win. Now let's go to the numbers here. This is even more insane. How you look at how this thing broke down on Friday night. Yes, Nolan Smith was god-awful. Dude, I'm in the room now that he's floating towards being a bust. Bryce Huff has a long way to go in being a 3-down player. He's not. I don't know what you're going to do. I pray to God Zach Bond for you plays that way throughout the year because you're going to need him too. Because if that guy doesn't put that kind of pressure on the quarterback, again, you're not going to win a ton of games. Okay? Your front seven still against the run was terrible. Time of possession, kind of around the same room, 32-27. You guys were in that back and forth. Both teams having all kinds of issues with pre-snap penalties again, which drive me crazy. First downs. Philly had 25, Green Bay 19, kind of still in the same room. But the problem that you have here Look at this on third down. Here's Jalen Hurts on third down, 4-14. Bryce Love was worse, 3 of 11. Terrible. He had 3 and outs everywhere. You couldn't get off. You couldn't stay on the field unless you ran the ball. You can't do it throwing it. This is what made this game ridiculous. How can you have this disparity in plays? You had 74 plays to 58. You held the Green Bay Packers to under 60 plays. It's incredible. I mean, you basically had to run 30 more plays to stay in that game with Green Bay. I need an SOS Huff for Huff Sills. Absolutely. He was terrible. Okay? He was terrible. Average plays per yard for a play. Green Bay averaged 7 yards a play. Philly averaged 5.5. Here, like I said, you take the 34-yard runaway, you have about 119 rushing yards. And Green Bay ran for 163 yards. I mean, 30, and they did it on 21 attempts. You had 38 rushing attempts. You're going to win the game. This is exactly what I said. You run the ball 25 or more times, you win. Net rushing. Green Bay had 266, or net passing, excuse me. Green Bay 266. Philly had 251. 10 penalties for Green Bay and 7 for Philly. And the turnovers were 2-2 when it came to picks, and Jalen had a fumble. I mean, Jesus Grammy. Here are the numbers. Jalen Hurts, under 60% completion percentage. 30 of 34, 278, 2-2. Love was 7 of 34, 260, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Barkley was great, 24 carries, 109 and 2 touchdowns. Started game for the offense. Jacobs was 16 of 84, most of that coming in the second half. Hurts had 13 carries. Let me see what that comes out to. Let me see what 13 carries comes out to. Had to have 13 carries in that game to win. Let me see something here. 13 times. So he's on pace for 221 carries. Never make it. You had to have a guy who's going to run the ball more than any time in his entire career this year. He won the game because of his legs, not his arm. Since the beginning of last season, no player has more touchdowns than Hurts. Congratulations to you, kid. Counting touchdowns or Super Bowls here. Snap out of it. AJ, 5 catches for 119 yards and a touchdown. He was sensational. Reed was great. 4 catches, 138. Couldn't defend him. Smitty, old reliable. You needed a play, throw it to Smitty. 7 catches, 84 yards. Dobbs, 4 catches, 50 yards for Green Bay. Here's the one thing that you did like to see when it came to the passing attack here by Jalen. He did go to 8 different people. So there was a progression of spreading it around. But in that process, again, it's going to take time. That's why he was under 60%. He was under 60%. Seals, we discussed this last week. Vic's scheme will surrender yards. We need to get used to seeing, we said that, right? 400-plus yard games. Our personnel does not fit the scheme yet. A boring offense will help our D. Absolutely. Remember what we said? That they were going to they were going to give up a lot of yards inside the 20s. Okay? I thought Maddox stunk. I mean, Jesus criminy. There was a lot of people on that defense that were terrible. Okay? Doesn't want to talk about Josh Allen. He was the best player on the field Sunday in the league. 137.7 rating, 4 touchdowns. They were down 17. He said, I got this. Carried his football team back. What are you talking about? He's the best player on Sunday in the National Football League next to TJ Watt. The fuck are you talking about, guy? Guy had a 137 rating on Sunday. What are you talking about? And won and has nobody to throw to. Sills, do you think Moore is going to stay stubborn with all this passing, or will he use Barkley to run? Or are they stubborn so Jalen doesn't get hurt? I think they got to run the ball as much as they possibly can. Okay? I think they got to run the ball because they are not going to win by throwing it. They won that game not because of A.J. Brown. They won that game because of Saquon Barkley. They need to preserve that guy as much as they can. That guy is like adding Kevin Durant to the Golden State Warriors. In that offense, I'll tell you what, it's one game, but he did have an impact. Okay? He did have an impact in that game. Okay? Sills with these backhanded compliments. I don't backhand compliment anybody. I tell you exactly what happened Friday night. You don't like it? That's a you thing, dude. Eagles played a Super Bowl contender and your quarterback looked like shit. And it's week 1. Okay? He looked great when he ran the ball. I saw some 22 out there. The pass to Barkley down the sideline was really good. Like I said, Barkley is McCaffrey for the Eagles. Not happening. Don't put those two together. He has not done anything near the things that Christian McCaffrey did him in Carolina. Don't forget that. He had 100 catches one year and 1,000 yards receiving and running in Carolina. I'm not even talking about the San Francisco CMC. I'm talking about the McCaffrey in Carolina. Okay? The McCaffrey in Carolina, I'm talking. On a shitty football team. Was sensational. Brian, since you predicted this for Hurts in the offense, but do you think the defense just needs time to mature, or do we need free agents? No, I wouldn't do anything right now, Brian. Brian, I wouldn't do anything. I'd let that defense and let Vic keep working it. I don't want new faces, Brian. I know John McMullen wasn't happy with the defensive play, but for what I thought, I was. They gave up more yards than I thought on the ground. They did. I thought that would resemble a little bit better of last year, them stopping the run more, but they were terrible, man. And Green Bay's got a shitty O-line, especially in running the ball. They owned them. They were not in shape. Either that's a remedy from not having exhibition football or conditioning. Let me say this to you. For as hard as they say that the practices and the camp was, it wasn't on display for your front seven Friday night because they were gassed. They were gassed. Sills, I'd pump the brakes on this. Tubes, did you see TJ Edwards in that Bear defense and how well they played? Were you watching that Bears defense? They won that game because of the Bears defense. They were good, man. Okay? Andreas. Well, that's what happens when you only got one player in offense. He was the best player in the league next to TJ Watt on Sunday, dude. He was the best player in the league. Even Shady McCoy said that. Shady on his show today goes, Allen was sensational. He believes that Josh Allen's going to win the most valuable player award. Out of Shady McCoy's mouth, he goes, "That was insane." He was insane. I agree. As Big Sills predicted, how'd that center exchange go between Jalen and Cam Jurgens? How do you think that went? Communication issues? Fumble. Snapping the ball? Not having game reps? Bang. Turnover. Practicing it at NovaCare versus playing it in Brazil versus the Packers are two different things. Two different. Hey, do me a favor. Stop comparing Josh Allen to Jalen Hurts. Hurts stunk. Josh Allen was electric. Long season, RTF. Long season. I know they got beat by the Bucs. I know. Okay? Apparently, we are the Giants. No. See, once again, here's a guy not understanding where you are. We're not talking about winning regular season games anymore. I thought we were in here talking about Super Bowls. Aren't you talking about being a Super Bowl? You lost to the Cardinals. You got beat last year by Jonathan Gannon and that same Cardinal team. Did you not? You just got beat by the Cardinals. Last 18 games, 23 turnovers. Okay? Last 23. Josh Allen was sensational. Sensational. Hurts stunk. Game balls now. Let me throw that off to you now. Who would you give game balls to on the Eagles for their game against the Packers? Xander Krauss at 3:30, Angelo Cataldi 4:30. Saquon, Bond. If Jalen stunk, what do you say about Love? He stunk too. As a lifelong Eagle fan, I can honestly say I would rather have Josh Allen at quarterback than Hurts, period. Shit, I would probably take Dak over Hurts right now. Hurts isn't like that. Facts. Dak Prescott was sensational yesterday in times they needed him. And by the way, the Cowboys end up giving what he wanted, $240 million, $230 of it guaranteed, $60 million annually. And the Cowboys looked awful good yesterday, albeit there were a lot of missing pieces to that Browns team. But that's no excuse to get run over like that in your own barn. Dallas Cowboys kicked the shit out of them. Michael Parsons was the second best defensive player on Sunday next to TJ. I mean, he was out of hand. Here are my game balls. Saquon Barkley, 24 carries, 109, 2 TDs, 4.5 yards a carry. 34-yard run, had a touchdown in the air. He was the best player for the Eagles on Friday night. Zach Bond, 15 tackles, 2 sacks, TFL, couple of hits on the quarterback, constant pressure. I mean, he was sideline to sideline. I mean, of all the players that we saw during camp and all the people talking, there is no question that guy had the game of a lifetime. Now, can he keep it up? Again, we have to see consistency out of that, but That's a hell of a way to start. Now, this is a great take by Mike here. Mike, I haven't read it all the way through, but you're right, Dan. Sometimes teams get ugly wins, and sometimes, Mike, teams start out with ugly losses. You played football. You're right. You're not wrong, and you won the game. That's right. That's why I said, hey, Mike, you win a game like that, even though you don't play your best. Mike, I'm talking more about championship football. And again, it's game one. Okay, I agree, Hurts. I agree. Hurts has played bad, but he deserves more time. Yes, of course he does. Of course he does. Mike, you're right. But my point, Mike, here's something that I said, Mike, that people don't understand. I said that Jalen was going to have a bumpy start to it, and he was going to look like you thought he was. And none of you wanted to agree. Well, guess what? He did. This is going to be a work in progress for him. Hey, Sills, will you stop giving Allen all the praise? He still has never gotten to a Super Bowl. And Hurts, dude, will you stop overblowing the fact that Hurts got to a Super Bowl? Because every time I bring that up with, or I bring that up with Colin Kaepernick, or I bring that up with Jimmy Garoppolo, you dismiss it. You dismiss it. I don't see Jimmy Garoppolo or Colin Kaepernick or any of those quarterbacks being revered because they took a team to the Super Bowl. And Garoppolo was the main reason why they got one of the main reasons they got there. I mean, come on. And by the way, those quarterbacks all got paid because of their ability, not because they got to a Super Bowl. Your quarterback is the only quarterback that got paid because he got to a Super Bowl. And that's why you're still seeing inconsistent play. Get this. You guys keep bringing up 22. I'm bringing up the last 18 ball games. He's got 23 turnovers. There's nothing you can say that says championship football about that. Nothing. Nothing. That is turnover machine shit. When you have more turnovers in the last 18 games than you have games played, you got a problem. He had 3 turnovers in the first game. 3 turnovers. 3. Josh Allen has the second most. Get this. See this right here? Since you forget that Josh Allen has a higher win percentage than Jalen Hurts does. You forget that. A.J. Brown gets a game ball. A.J. Brown had 23 yards a catch, 5 for 119 and a touchdown. He was a beast. I gave Reed Blankenship a game ball. 8 tackles, pick. I thought he played well, man. I'm not sure there'll ever be a game that I don't give Devontae Smith a game ball. Oh, dependable. I need some yards. Go get it to him. I'm not saying AJ is not a sensational player, but there's just something about Devontae that, to me, he's just a reliable player. And here's the last one. So I've given Saquon, Zach Bond, Reed Blankenship, Devontae Smith, and Quinyon Mitchell game balls. I gave Quinyon one. For his first game, played really well. Played really well. You could add another player too, V. You could add Zach Bond into that. You could put him in there too. I'm sure I'll talk shit on him again. It's one game. Don't you understand? Get this. Here's another example of Senor being just over the top. One game is not an indictment on one's career or a plus or a minus. He had a good game. That doesn't mean he's a good player consistently. That does not mean that. Jesus criminy, he had a good game. He hasn't played great games like that. Holy shit. You can't be dumber, man. Get this, guys. So if a guy plays bad, you want me to still call him an asshole. I don't do that. Guy played well. Guy played great. Hurts sucked, my opinion. Or wait, let me take it back. Hurts is not playing good enough football to win a Super Bowl. He's playing good enough to win you games in an NFC. He's not playing good enough to win Super Bowls. You can't be a turnover machine like that and win. And have poor decision-making in the passing game. If Jalen had those turnovers like Mahomes, I bet you anything, Mahomes has more turnovers than Hurts does in the last 2 years. I would bet that. Or it's pretty close. But what's the difference? That guy throws the ball, and he's not late on throws. He finds receivers. He can throw you out of trouble. That's the difference in those dudes. Hurts can't. You know how many late throws he had in that game? There were at least 10. 10 late throws in that ball game by Hurts. Now, is that a product of the new offense? No question. Setting protections. I'll tell you one thing. I did not think he was that terrible against the blitz. I actually, if you want to give it a little bit of love, I didn't think he was bad against it. Let Jalen play in the AFC. He wouldn't touch a Super Bowl. AFC road so much harder than NFC. Absolutely. The guys you have to play week in and week out in the AFC, it's like playing in the Southeastern Conference. Jalen would never get past Mahomes. Absolutely. Okay. I thought Jalen did, yes. Yeah. Hey, if I'm not mistaken, Scott, wasn't he like 6 or 7 against the blitz? I thought that was something that you can hang your hat on, that you went, look, that was okay. I mean, you go back and you watch it and you're like, that's blitz. That's good. So I think, I think there was some you saw some improvement against the blitz. Okay. Get this, folks. Hey, guys, it's a new effing offense. And the first, I don't even think I don't think any quarterback had a great game this weekend. You're probably right. You're probably right. I'm trying to think. I mean, Dak, 19 of 32, that's not great. Tua had 338 yards. I'll tell you what, man, that Tua could put some yards up, dog. Hey, how about that fiasco down in Miami? Putting Tyreek Hill face down. Get this. It was a seatbelt violation. It wasn't speeding. It was a seatbelt violation. I spoke to Calais Campbell. He got cuffed too. A man who won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award for character was cuffed by the Miami-Dade cops. I love the Miami-Dade cops. I've done a ton of events with them. But a seatbelt violation, you disrespected the guy as he was going to work, and You put him face down, cuffed on a seatbelt violation. Yeah. You don't put a black guy down, face down, for a seatbelt violation when you know you'd never do that to a white guy. You wouldn't even cuff him. Then you cuff Calais Campbell? And now they put a couple of those cops on administrative leave. What the fuck are you thinking? I posted a picture. I go at 10 a.m. in the morning. He's got his hands cuffed, and then he's got his hands cuffed again. I loved what he did to the cops at the stadium. That was out and out racism. I cannot believe what I was watching. Guys are taking videos and sending them to me on the way to the stadium. You know, I got a ton of people down in South Florida. Thank you guys for doing that. And people who watch it were sending me. I couldn't believe it. And like I said, I have a hot and cold relationship with Drew Rosenhaus. Drew Rosenhaus was in the car. Cop pulled him over. He didn't have a seatbelt on. I think he got a Lamborghini or some shit. Drew Rosenhaus was in the car. He said, "What are you doing?" The guy's like, I'm going to the stadium. We got to play in 4 hours here. And cop got him out of the car, started thinking that he was resisting arrest. They did arrest him. You know what they gave him a citation for? A seatbelt violation. A seatbelt violation. You put him face down and cuffed him. You got a lot of answering to do. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I must have had 100 videos sent to me. People going by there on the way to Hard Rock. A lot of Miami Hurricane fans, they were at the game the day before. And so what they'll do is they'll buy tickets for the Dolphin game too the next day. They're sending me videos of this shit. I'm posting them. Hey, Takeem, I think that's something I think it was a seatbelt violation and texting shit, something going on. And the Miami-Dade County cops arrested him. Did you see what I did? I tweeted out the chief of police there in Miami Gardens. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You know better than this. She sent me a DM. She's like, this is not us. This is Miami-Dade. Miami-Dade handles the security at the Hard Rock. And I'm like, Chief, someone's got to get down there and stop this before something gets out of hand. I'll tell you what, if that's a normal black guy, I don't know what happens. I'm just saying, thank God it's Tyreek Hill. And by the way, not that Tyreek Hill is some sort of saint or anything, like my wife said, but you cuffed Calais Campbell too? Like, what in your mind are you doing? I mean, what in your mind are you doing? The guy, seatbelt violation, probably, I heard the texting too. They cuffed him and put him face down on the ground. 4 hours before a football game. Then he goes and catches. What did he have in the game? 130 yards receiving, TD. Then he goes into the end zone. He puts his hands behind his back, being cuffed. Oh, man. I don't know about you, man. But hey, Drew Rosenhaus is not going to let that go. And you know what the league did? They let him play. It was like, no, it's not on him. Yeah, so that'll be for later on in the show. What up, 203? What's up there, my friend? How are you? That Tyreek Hill, my God, I know, man. That thing was out of hand. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Chills. I would be very careful passing judgment on Hill's situation. Reports down there are he refused to comply with an officer order. That's not what Calais Campbell told me. He was there. And I take Calais Campbell's word over anybody. One of the most respected and highest character guys you could possibly have. And dude, I'd lose my shit too if you were going to arrest me for a seatbelt violation. So let me get Angelo Cataldi's coming on at 4:30. So we will get Angie on with us too. So let's do this. What would be the grade you would give your Eagles versus the Packers on Friday night? A B. Surrendering over 400 yards is a B. A B. Get this, but these guys don't get, the higher the grade, the less room to grow. There you go, Dustin. There you go, Dustin. There you go. Because if that's a B effort, you ain't got a lot of room. You ain't got a lot of room to grow. If I were you, I would even go D plus. D plus and you won. You know what you want to say? You want to be stupid and go, hey, that's an A effort or a B minus effort. Look, if that's the best you can play, you are not a championship football, my friend. You are not. Look at some of you. You're diminishing your own football team by saying some of you are saying you play B football out there when your defense looked terrible and your offense and your quarterback were below average. Your quarterback wasn't even average in completion percentage. And you're giving these guys B pluses? Well, then you don't really think very highly of your football team. Me, I'd look at that and go like this, C minus, with a ton of room to grow. With a ton of room to grow. Get this. Let's take Steve's let's have Steve's take here. What did he say? A plus, 1-0. Guess what, guys? Do you think that effort that they had on Friday night is good enough to win a Super Bowl by Steve's liking of it being that's A plus effort that the Eagles have versus the Packers? He thinks that's an A plus effort. Because if that's the Eagles' A plus effort, you will only win 7 games. Thanks, Steve. Thanks for the content. Personally, I say this. That was a C minus effort with a lot of room to grow. There you go, Brian. I don't usually like this, but okay. I'm not eating anything, buddy. Nothing. I have nothing to eat. I told you exactly on Friday. I picked the Packers to win for sure because I didn't believe you'd run the ball, but you did. Said if you carry the ball 25 or more times, you win. I didn't think you were. You had to carry it 38 to win. Okay. I did pick the Packers and they lost. Yeah, because I thought you weren't going to do what was the right thing. They did. They proved me wrong. They ran the ball. Okay. Big Seals, you think Eagle Owls beating Falcons? Hey, Khalid, after watching the Falcons play, I'll say this to you. Bijan Robinson is spectacular. Kirk Cousins was terrible. At home, I watched that Steeler game. And boy, I'll tell you, I may have to revamp that. Absolutely. Okay. Robinson was sensational in that game, but Cousins was everywhere, man. Another primetime game. Dude, he was not good. I'll tell you what, if that guy puts up another game like he did against Pittsburgh, they're going to put Michael Penix in sooner than you think. Let's see here. Penix incoming. Can we talk about Devin White getting traded to the Niners? More interesting topic. God, that would be insane if he got traded. Sills, Lions lost. Lions didn't lose. They won in overtime. I know they paid him too. They paid him big money, almost $50 million annually. Hey, I'll just say this, Matt. Matt Ryan did not look very good. Or Matt Ryan, excuse me. Kirk Cousins did not look very good in that ball game. Any pressure in his face and he crumbles. Boy, did they not. And did you see that double pump that he had with all the players around him? Then he threw it into double coverage to end the ball game. You're like, why? That was such a Pittsburgh win. I mean, Justin Fields, I don't know. He's just not a good ball player. You know what? He's so athletic, though, but he can't throw the ball. Justin Fields cannot throw the football. Now, if you want a quarterback that's going to win with his wheels, I think he can win you some ball games. I'll tell you what, he's a cheap man's version of Hurts. Hurts is a superior passer to him, though. See, that's the majority of the kind of quarterbacks you get that are dual threat, are like Fields, okay, who can't throw. Hurts can throw. Hurts is the best dual threat quarterback I've seen that can throw in the modern time here. Shipley and Barkley said, look good, need more. RTF, I thought they did too. I thought Shipley coming out in the perimeter and taking that catch up the sidelines, I thought that was pretty good too. I did. Guys, please hit the like button. We'll go through the National Football League week. Let me do this here. Oh, wait. You know, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll talk about how you thought Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore did in their opening game. Couple performances, too. Oh, by the way, I openly root against Shedeur Sanders. I guarantee you the New York Giants draft him next year, and the Giants take him, and there'll be another colossal disaster. They go into Lincoln and get killed. He blames wide receivers. He blames his O-line. And then he walks off the field with 2.5 minutes left. And you know what the stupid father says? Well, he wanted to turn the showers on for his teammates because that's the kind of kid he is. I was like, this guy's no character. He's worried about his watch, and he's worried about his checking account. He's not worried about winning games. Nebraska kicked the shit out of them. It really wasn't close. And now what you have is you have all these media guys covering for him. I guarantee you Deion Sanders resigns by the end of the year. Okay? He resigns because he can't take it. He's not. Did you guys see that coach from Northern Illinois crying, going into Notre Dame and winning? Played for the Northern Illinois team. He's crying for his guys. They beat Notre Dame, 5th-ranked team. That's a coach. That's a coach. Loves his guys. Loves the journey. I watched that game. My daughter's like, Dad, my daughter cried. And I was like, that's football right there, man. Going into a hostile environment and winning like that when no one thought you were. You want to hear something even more effed up? Notre Dame paid NIU, Northern Illinois, $1.5 million to beat them. How you doing? How you doing? Hey, Colorado. That's a coach. That's a coach. Oh, one thing also, too, Abe. Who's the head football coach at Michigan right now? Who's the head coach at Michigan? Dez, Dez, I did see some RPO back. We'll talk more about that here with Kellen here. Okay, we will. Who's the head football coach of Michigan right now? What's his name? That's a true statement. I don't know if Allen can do that. Well, let me just say this to you. That guy is not going to get the time he needs to fit in as Michigan's head coach. Okay? Moore's not going to get the opportunity. Okay? He's just not. And I think you know why. They're going to run his ass out of there. So, Kellen Moore, Vic Fangio, Xander Krauss at 3:30. Angelo Cataldi will be with us at 4:30. We'll dive more into what went on with Hurts in that game. We also have week 1 of the NFL. Like I said, there were interesting performances, plus Dak Prescott's contract. And I don't know what's going on with Deshaun Watson. Boy, I'll tell you, that could go down as the worst trade in the history of the National Football League. Tonight also, San Francisco hosting the Jets. Hit the like button. Guys, where are we on the like list? By the way, thank you for this past weekend or this past Friday for the pre and post game show. You guys were absolutely sensational. I can't thank you enough, man. Really. Where are we on the like list right now? Thank you, guys. Please hit it. 155? Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. You've been excellent. First hour, a little bit over. 155. Hit the like button. We'll talk about Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Vince Sales National Football Show. Please hit the like button. You guys have been great. Niners and Jets tonight. Tell you who I have in that ball game. I'm not going to go knee deep into it too bad because it's 1 week, but it's 1 week in a month. Man, this Bryce Huff guy's nowhere to be seen. He's just nowhere to be seen. You spent $15 million and $51 million on that guy? I mean, this guy here, man, I mean, you got to at least put him on the milk carton. This guy's officially on the milk carton. Bryce Huff. He's a milk. There he is. Look at this. Coming to a Wawa near you. Look at this, man. Expired on 9/6/2024. Look at that, baby. Look at that there. Huh? You can pick this up at a local Wawa. This is called the Bryce Huff Missing Drink. Hey, man, if you want to lose your mind or you want to forget something or you want to forget somebody, all you do is drink this shit. Courtesy of the Philadelphia Eagles and Howie Roseman. How you doing? Look at that, man. They serve that next to like the Chip Kelly, what is that, the Slurpee machine? That's called a Howie Roseman drink right there, baby. Look at that, man. Woo! I bet it's a, hey, would you not say the smoothies? Thank you, Brian. Would we not think that's a bitter taste? I hear it's got a bitter taste to it. A little bitter. What do you think, Xander? That's a bitter taste right there, right? Actually, guess what I heard? I hear it tastes more like breast milk or Similac. Oh, man. Sour milk. There you go. See, what you do is you make butter with this. Oh, my God. You make butter with that milk. Yeah, hey. Holy shit, man. Look at that. Yeah, hey, don't feed this to your kid. You know why? He'll go missing too. Or he'll forget who he is or whatever. Holy cow, man. Even goat's milk's better than this shit. More like buttermilk? Fuck. And then get this. The other guy is Nolan Smith. Those two dudes are like on a desert island somewhere. Like Gilligan's Island. I'm dating myself. Or that movie, Castaway. You know, Nolan Smith and Bryce Huff are on the island of Castaway. Holy shit. Get this. And here's what you get out of a dummy like this. And we won. You ain't winning it. Stop and we won. You won against New England last year, and I said that team's not going far. Okay? Stop. This is not about winning 14 games. This is about winning the Super Bowl. Boy, you think small. You think micro instead of macro and the big picture. That's why some of you are so close-minded. A+ effort. You're like, A+ effort? Well, if that's an A+ effort from the Eagles, they're in trouble. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I think it's a D+, C- effort. Okay? Get this. No one can win the Super Bowl week 1, dumbass. Really? Oh. But you can say this about your boy Hurts. He's got 23 turnovers in 18 games. Stop bringing up 22 because he ain't playing like that. He hasn't played like that in 2 years. 18 games, 23 turnovers. How you doing? And one more time, Josh Allen was the best football player offensively in the NFL yesterday. Wasn't close. 137.7, 4 TDs. Only guy on the team. There's nobody offensively on that team. Just him carrying a team on his back. You won in spite of your quarterback Friday. Wait. Well, when he ran the ball, you won. Jalen made plays for you to win with his legs. Of course, not with his arm, but with his legs. When he uses his legs, sensational. Oh, get this. James, he is good. The quarterback was sensational. What do you have in that game? 40 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, 232 in the air, 2 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns for the day. Almost 104, almost a perfect quarterback rating. Against Jonathan Gannon, who beat the doorknobs off you the last time he faced you. How you doing? How you doing? Let's take a look at the coordinators now. What'd you make of Vic Fangio? Guys, please hit the like button. Thank you. Guys are great. Xander's going to join us in a couple minutes here, and then we'll have Angelo Cataldi at 4:30 Eastern. What'd you make of Vic Fangio? Brian says Vic was okay. Vic was good. Vic was decent. Vic, yeah, I agree with Senor here. I agree with Senor. Senor, tell me if you think this would be fair. Sue says I feel confident with Vic. Senor, would you say this about Fangio? For as limited talent as he has on that side of the ball, they probably played for week 1 and game 1 the best they possibly could play. I'll get this. The 2 players that I thought would play a lot better are the players that you have the most vested in, and that's your 2 D tackles. They did not play well. They did not play well. Your 2 defensive tackles, the guys that you have put so much faith in, did not play well. Gave up 163 yards rushing. Damn. How many yards a carry did they give up? Especially with no pass rush. Besides Bond. I think Bond's the only guy that had sacks in the game. How many yards per carry did the Packers have in that game? I know most of it was in the second half. Okay? I know most of it was in the second half. Jordan Davis was completely out of shape in game 1 in the second half. Man, how in the world do you have faith in that guy when you saw how out of shape he was in the second half? Gave up 10 points in the second half. I'm talking how many yards per carry did they give up? The run defense. You would have at least, hey, last year in week 1, at least you played great for the first 6 weeks, 7 weeks against the run. He goes, Clint Hurts stinks. You're blaming the coach because your defensive tackles got killed? Talk about dumb. Oh, I see. First it was Tracy, now it's him. Quality defensive line coaches. Do you ever think it's the players? Or is it really just the coaches? Adam says it. So wait a minute. The Eagles gave up 8 yards a carry? 2 first-rounders in there. One of them top 10 pick. Shit. I'm starting to lean on that Bijan side. I don't know. I told you to take him too, but okay. It's week 1. Let's give him the benefit. But last year, I mean, to now, that hasn't been addressed. That hasn't been addressed. Stopping the run. You got 2 first-round picks. Hey, dude, I give Quinion getting beat a couple times first game out there. Then I turn around and you can make those excuses for Quinion Mitchell. But what's the excuses for Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis getting run over? Sills, you said that those 300-pound men running on that field couldn't do anything. JD's like 400 pounds. Hey, all I know is this, Abe. You're really going to blame the field. The Packers played on it too. Packers played on it. I thought they did a pretty decent job outside of Barkley. Like I said, you take the 134-yard runaway. They held you guys about 119 rushing. It's not awful. They played on the field too. They played on it. Well, they surrendered less than you. Again, but the Packers don't have the investment you have. Get this. You guys are trying to compare what the Packers did with their 2 defensive tackles versus you when you invested 2 first-rounders in your tackles. Do you expect more than what Green Bay did? I think Green Bay's got a free agent in there. Calcaterra made some plays. Okay? Nobody's saying the field didn't suck. You have faith in Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills going to the Super Bowl? No, not in the AFC, I don't. No, not in the AFC. I don't know who's going to go and play against Mahomes. There wasn't any performance over the weekend in the AFC by any AFC quarterback that made me think you're going to take out, after at least week 1, the Chiefs and Mahomes. Nobody made a statement over the weekend in the AFC that they're going to dethrone the Chiefs. Nobody. Okay, so. And by the way, the NFC looked terrible. How about this? Hey, I'll use your mentality on the Lions. The Lions, I mean, they were terrible. They were terrible and won. They were terrible and won. Terrible and won. Guy in here saying he'd take Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen or Joe Burrow. Take a quarterback in the last 18 games is 23 turnovers. Sure, go ahead. Have at it. You can't get away from that number. It's a trend now. He turns the ball over. Until he stops that, and that's a couple games where he doesn't turn the ball over, Jalen Hurts is turning the ball over at a high rate. You're not going to win championship football with those kind of numbers. You're going to win games because you have a high volume of talent on offense. Once again, who is the worst guy in the huddle on Friday night? It was your quarterback. Okay? Well, let me ask you this. Hey, Abe, who was the worst offensive player in the huddle on Friday night? Who was? By the way, I saw somebody in here say something about Josh Allen having high turnovers. He has a higher win percentage too. Don't forget the win percentage. In the AFC, he wins more games than Jalen Hurts. He's got a higher win percentage career-wise than Jalen does. And by the way, I mean, seriously, I keep saying it, but I'm going to stop. Nobody thinks Saquon Barkley thinks that Josh Allen's going to win the MVP. Said it this morning. He was asked who's going to win the MVP. He goes, Josh Allen. That's your boy you're going to put in the Hall of Fame this year, isn't it? And he's a Hurts guy. Yeah, he did say it. He did say it. Josh Allen's going to win the MVP. Woo! So let me give you my takeaway with Vic Fangio. I thought Vic had him ready to play. For the limited talent that they have, front seven was brutal. Pressure-wise, outside of Bond, and stopping the run. That was not a very good effort. You gave up over 400 and some odd yards in total offense. 8 yards of play you were giving up, and 8 yards per rush. You got annihilated against the run. Long work in progress, but he did the most important thing. Converting those 2 red zone score potentials from a 14 points to 6 points. And it was totally, the defense won the game for you. I mean, keeping them out of the end zone, I said it on the postgame show, so it won the game for you. He said those 2 weren't 14, they were 6. And that was the difference in the ball game. So I thought for week 1 that the defense was ahead of where I thought it was going to be. I thought they were going to get bigger numbers put up on them, but they didn't. So, hey, Andy got the win. So you definitely are ahead of the game. See, I'm not looking at just the win. I'm looking at how are you going to be in a couple weeks. And right now, that's not awful. I know, John, I heard him talking earlier this morning, and he was like, look, there were a lot, and he's right. But if you're going to look at it where you thought they were, where I thought, see, I think John expected a little bit better of a performance out of him. I didn't. Okay? I didn't expect them to be any better. I thought they'd be worse than that. John thought they'd be better. I think that's kind of where we're coming from. By the way, we want to thank you guys all for coming aboard. By the way, please hit the like button. Angelo Cataldi is going to join us at 4:30 Eastern. And I thought Xander did a super job on the pre- and post-game show and also some of the stuff they did over the weekend. Great show this morning that those guys had. Birds 365. I was listening to Jeff Kerr. I completely disagree with him when he says that he thought Hurts played well. I did not think that at all. They were late throws, and nobody thinks a guy throwing the ball less than 60% completion percentage plays well. That's not a good game in anybody's eyes. So with all that being said, let's bring in our friend from Birds 365, co-host of that show, our friend Xander Krauss. They get the win, Xander. Big Z's with us now. They get the win.
1-0, baby. 1-0 this week, and that's the best you can be. So I'm happy. Good look. Travel 4,000 miles still for a home game, so you come out of there with a win. I think that's a good thing. And by the way, you came out of there healthy. No big injuries to any big players. So overall, I'm pretty happy with where we're at. Definitely some stuff to clean up, no doubt, but you get the win, Big Sills.
Absolutely. Your quick takeaway, though, on what you saw. First, start with the defense.
Defense impressed me, honestly. I mean, look, you talk about those turnovers. 2 of them came in our own zone, and you only give up 6 points there. That's a huge turn in that game. If the Packers go up 14-0 there, this is a different football game. So I think that was huge there. I mean, you only give up 29 points in the game with 3 turnovers total. So overall, I thought they were impressive. Zach Baum was impressive. I thought Nakobe Dean, I was wrong last week. I said he was either going to be great or he was going to be burnt toast. I thought he was right in the middle. I thought some plays he was great. I thought he played really good downfield when he needed to get downfield. I thought he struggled in coverage, but overall, I thought he was all right. Defensive line was nowhere. I mean, talk about the freaking milk carton for a second. That's where we are with that defensive line. And Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, those guys as well. John says he's giving him a mulligan. It's the NFL. I don't like to give mulligans in the NFL, but at the end of the day, the field was shitty. Both defensive lines struggled to get pressure. So that's something we're going to have to watch in terms of the D-line, but definitely concerning when you look at those snap counts with Bryce Huff and Brandon Graham gets more snaps than him. I think that's definitely something to be concerned about. Probably the most concerning part of the defense after that game was that defensive line. And then the secondary I thought was great. I mean, they didn't even throw to Darius Slay, which is a good sign. We were worried about him coming into the year. Is he 34? Is Father Time going to catch up with him? Boom, they don't even throw. They threw one ball this way.
Yeah.
Quinyon Mitchell, I thought, answered the call. He got beat a couple times, but nothing crazy. I thought he looked really good. Avonte Maddox was he was probably
and CJ. They were both
CJ Gardner-Johnson struggled. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. I rewatched that game tape. He struggled in this game. He did not look good at all. I don't think it's anything to be concerned about yet, but he didn't look good. And then Reed Blankenship was great, by the way. He was awesome. So overall, I thought it was good. Avonte Maddox was the one guy who I thought really struggled on defense. And then the defensive line. I mean, I got questions there. Flipping it over to the offense, you put up 34 points and turn the ball over 3 times. Shit, if this team cleans it up, how good can we be? If you don't turn the ball over 3 times, are you a 40? You have 40 points in that board in that game? You have 45, 50 points in that game? I mean, so as much as I didn't like the turnovers, as much as they bothered me more than many in the chat. Many people are like, it's week 1. I don't care. I cared. I thought they were, forget the turnovers. Forget turning the ball over in week 1 because most quarterbacks do it in week 1. Why are you, a veteran quarterback in the league, who's been to a Super Bowl, who's making $51 million, making the decision to throw across your body into triple coverage when you're up by 5 and all you need to do is a field goal to take 8 points, to take an 8-point lead? That's just bad decision making. That's not rust. That's just bad decision making. So that part of it really bothered me with Jalen, but I think he will clean it up. I think he's aware of it. But that was definitely the one concerning part on offense. And then the Saquon Barkley show. I mean, outside of that 34-yard run and the touchdowns, he wasn't tremendous. I think he averaged like 3 yards a carry if you took out that big run. But we signed Saquon for the impact. And he made those impact plays when we needed them. So he looked like a great addition to this football team and almost makes us impossible to cover. So overall, I thought I had really positive takeaways. I mean, there's week 1. There's some stuff to clean up without a doubt. But overall, you get out of there 1-0. And that's a good thing.
Like you said about Barkley, you take the rest of it out. The 2 impact plays he made down the sideline with the catch in the air and then that 34-yard run. Those are impact plays you're talking about.
That's what I said. I mean,
he's like Kyle Schwarber.
He's like Kyle Schwarber. 3 TDs isn't an impact. I said the opposite. I said outside of those 3 plays, he averaged 3 yards a carry, but signed him for the impact. That's you misheard me there, Zeal. But
he heard what you wanted him to hear.
Yeah.
Here, let me tell you my concerns. I'm more concerned about the late throws than I am about even more so the interceptions and the turnovers. But I mean, to me, dude, he's late on throws because he's struggling with all the things again that he has to do in progression reading. And Xander, nobody can dispute this number here. In the last 18 games, he's got 23 turnovers. We're now getting into a point where people want to go back and say, I remember him in 22 being an MVP candidate. So be it. Well, let's do this. This guy has more turnovers in the last 18 games than he does games played is a problem. I mean,
look, I think I understand your point. I do think you're embellishing it slightly. You look at Josh Allen. He's got 19 turnovers in his last 18 games. So Jalen has turned the ball over too much, and there's no doubt he's
the only guy on that huddle. What I'm saying is he has to carry that team because there's nothing else in that huddle. You have all that talent. How can you have all those turnovers with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley, the offensive line? Allen's got none of that. He's a one-man tambourine show up there in Buffalo. This guy here has all that talent. Why are you turning the ball over so high?
No, look, I see what you're saying. It's tough for me to dispute what you're saying. Turning the ball over is not a winning formula, not a championship formula in the NFL. I think any knowledgeable fan will understand that. But it is week one. The fumble, I don't know what happened there.
Communication,
right? So, but that wasn't like Jalen made a bad play. It was miscommunication with the center, and that forced a fumble and a turnover. So, isolate those 2 interceptions. I don't even care about the late throws, Sills, because like you said, it's a new offense. It's Kellen Moore. You're going to have you're going to have some late throws, especially when you get acclimated to a new offense. But when you're on your back foot in your own end zone and you throw a flutter ball up the middle, like that's forget being late. It's one thing to be late and throw an interception. That's just a terrible decision. When you're up, like I said earlier, you're up 5 going into the fourth quarter, and all you need to do is take a field goal and you chuck it back across your body into triple coverage, and Jair Alexander's right there to pick it off. That's just bad decision making. So being late doesn't bother me. It's the stuff that, as John points out, is a cardinal sin for a quarterback that bothers me. And you got to clean that up. There's no excuse for that. I don't care if it's week 1 or week 20. There's no excuse for that crap. So hopefully he can clean it up, and I think he will. I think, on the bright side, the silver lining is, you put up 34 points. You got 3 turnovers. A.J. Brown has a touchdown. Saquon Barkley has 3. How good can this offense be if they have a clean game? The potential is insane, and I think they showed it in week 1.
Did I not say that they were going to get, or Jalen was going to have, a bumpy start to this season? I said that on Friday to you. I go, this is not going to be as smooth as you think it's going to be because there's more responsibility. And one of the things, too, was communication. People are going like, well, that was on Cam. No, it was on the whole entire operation of a smooth operation. That's on Kellen Moore. That's on Nick. That's on the organization. Not having any kind of game reps whatsoever and communicating in a game situation. You're going to go like this. Somebody said this, like you said, Xander, you go on Friday, you go, what's a couple plays going to mean in an exhibition game? Well, I'll tell you what, one thing's for sure. First couple plays of the game in Brazil costed a turnover because they weren't playing on the same page and communicating. A snap count, a center and a quarterback are not on the same page. The center snapped the ball too soon. It's clearly on him. But the center had to try. One thing is for sure. There's no doubt that they've revamped that tush push. They got people behind Hurts now pushing him. I don't know if I like that. Because a year ago with the tush push, it was Kelsey and Jalen, and nobody was pushing him. You want a 200, 300-pound guy behind Jalen Hurts pushing him into a pile like that to try to get those yards? Xander, I think they need to rethink that there, because you're going to get your quarterback injured doing shit like that. That's not how they ran that tush push the last couple of years with Jason Kelsey. Can you imagine falling back behind his knees and getting him a hyperextended knee like that? Putting 2 guys behind him pushing? When I first saw that, I'm like, wow, they changed the dynamic of that thing a little bit. And you could tell Jeff Stoutland didn't have the same confidence in Juergens, because when they tried to do it on 3rd down, they didn't get it, if you remember right. Then they had an offsides with the Packers, so they didn't go back to it again. I don't know, man, if I want to have people behind Hurts' knees.
Look, I think that I always thought that the tush push would somewhat die a little bit without Jason Kelsey. It wasn't as effective. We'll see what they end up doing with it, but you're right. I mean, how much risk are you willing to take, with your $50 million quarterback? Because if he gets hurt, our season is effectively over. I don't care what you think of Kenny Pickett. It's not happening. So I'm with you on it. I think it's a risky business to be doing it, but we're going to see what ends up happening. By the way, 1 second, Sills. I'm going to reset my connection. Is my connection all right? Because I'm going in and out.
Going in and out a little bit, yeah.
I want to fix it.
All right, go ahead, reset it there. Go ahead, reset it. All good. All right. Don't forget, folks, Angelo Cataldi will be with us also at 4:30. Yeah, guys, when I saw the dynamic that they were doing with the tush push, I was like this. So they're putting, hey, guys, so it's AJ and Dallas Goedert behind Jalen Hurts now in the tush push. That's not how that dynamic was set up before. That thing wasn't set up like that before. So I got a small issue here with that thing. And yeah, so let's see if we got a better connection here with our friend Xander there. Yeah, so yeah, I got you, brother. Good. Got another question for you. Or maybe even more of a statement, Xander. I'm ready to say this to you. Well, I got to tell you, man, AJ Brown, I think he has more impact on your football team than Owens. I think he's a more impactful player than Owens.
Yeah, he's pretty unbelievable, Sills.
I mean,
that
dude,
route, he made
23 yards a catch.
And Sills, look at the size of him and how fast he moved. That corner's 35, 40 pounds lighter than AJ Brown. He couldn't even get close. He couldn't even gain a stride on AJ Brown on that 67-yard touchdown. He's an unbelievable player. We are blessed to have a receiver like that in Philadelphia. I'm happy Hurts continues to find him, but you know what a player he is, man. He is a special player, a special talent. He's an athletic freak, and he delivered, no doubt about it.
How about this one too? And then you got the guy on the other side. When you need yards, you know who you throw to? Throw to Devontae. I mean, isn't he like all reliable?
Yeah, he really is. He helped ice that game.
Dude.
Yeah, he helped ice that game.
Have you been shocked, or were you shocked with Barkley's impact?
I wouldn't say I'm shocked with it. No, I mean, I thought he was going to be great, and I think it works well because when he was with the Giants, he was great. But at the end of the day, when you're a defensive coordinator, all you game planned for was Saquon. Now you're in Philly, you can't even get the Saquon until you're three or four takeaways into the defense, right? You got to take away AJ. You got to deal with Devontae Smith. You got to deal with Jalen Hurts. Saquon Barkley's like an added feature right now, and he can't be the first priority because if you're going to take away Saquon, that means AJ Brown's going to cook you. So I think it works so well. And by the way, you have one of the best offensive lines in the league now that Barkley's running behind. So no doubt. I mean, look, I'm not surprised by it. I'm a little concerned with how many touches he had there. How long, you know,
he's on pace. He's on pace right now for over 400 carries.
Do we want to ride him that much, early, that often? That's
but you needed him, and you needed those carries to win that game.
Right. No, you're right. We definitely did. I mean, and you know, John pointed that out this morning. He had 19 carries, and then coming into that last drive where they were trying to ice the game, he had 8. So, you know, that kind of makes up for that difference there. If they probably wanted them at 19, it all depends on how each game is going with how many carries he's going to get. But I do worry about, you know, 26, 28 touches. I think he had 28 touches with the 2 receptions. You know, is that something that will last? I'm not trying to, you know, I don't know. I'm not trying to say that Saquon's not going to make it. I'm just saying that's a little bit concerning when you talk about any guy in the NFL getting that many touches. They're going to get banged up, and he runs hard and with his head down. So, you know, with his shoulder down, kind of runs through guys a little bit sometimes. So, you know, I'm a little bit concerned about how many touches he had and how long that will last.
How about this one? Hurts is on pace for 222 carries.
Yeah,
13 carries in week 1.
Too many.
And I do not believe. Well, they needed those wheels of his too, because in the second half, his running ability, Xander, was the reason they won that game. The way that he kept those drives going with his wheels, it was good actually to see it. It was good actually to see that he was able to run the ball.
Yeah, I mean, look, I thought he did look a little slower in moments, but you know,
there's some people saying that he doesn't look as athletic as he did a couple of years ago.
Well, I wonder if that's a toll from, you know, taking so many hits in the NFL. That's how it works. You know, you're not going to be the explosive guy you were when you were 19, 20, 21 years old.
You think he's as explosive?
You know, he had 3 turnovers, and then I look at the passing yards, and I talked about him setting a record for, you know, his passing yards this year with almost 4,500. He's on pace for a crazy passing number too. So like JM says, it's not linear. You know, each game has its own identity, and we're going to have to see how it continues to develop. But I would agree with you that I don't want to see him running that much I think when you have the amount of weapons you have the running back, you have the wide receivers, just get that ball out, man. I don't want, unless it's a moment where you need it to win the game, like he did late in that game. I don't want to see him run that much.
How about this? Well, I mentioned this to you on the post-game show. How odd was it to see Nick Sirianni nowhere near any communicating with Jalen Hurts at all in that ball game? Nowhere did they have any type of communication for a guy that was communicating with him his entire career. That had to look by design, Xander, that he had no say whatsoever in communicating with the quarterback, because maybe they did at halftime. I don't know. I wasn't in there, but it was the quarterback coach and it was the offensive coordinator that were dealing with him solely, and that was it. And there were some players. Nick was talking to everybody else but him. Did you find that weird?
I did. I thought it was very weird. And I think you pointed it out, and I realized it on the show. Actually, I saw you tweet it during the game, and then I started to really look for it. Yeah, I mean, it looks like they took Nick out of his ear completely. Nick is now the CEO, head coach, and you're not the guy who's communicating with the quarterback, in game. And it's just not his role anymore. I don't know why that is. I mean, we've talked about it all offseason. We don't really know. We can only speculate on what happened that's the case. But it doesn't bother me that much. You know what? I think Kellen's better served to do it. I like Doug Nussmeier, the quarterback's coach. I think he seems to be pretty solid. I think he can teach Jalen some things, and I'm good with the setup. But you're right. I mean, it is definitely a difference from last year.
I want to put Hurts in a category with everyone else, and I want to show you something here. I thought Josh Allen was sensational against Arizona, 137.7 rating in the game, 4 TDs.
Yeah,
him,
good.
And then you go like this. Derek Carr had 3 TDs, 200 yards. Stroud, 234. God, can he throw? I mean, he looks better this year.
Stroud's unbelievable, man.
There
is no CJ Stroud this year, no doubt. I mean, I thought all the rookies.
Yeah, they did struggle. Oh my God, Caleb Williams was terrible. 2 at 338.
Shamari Tate must be new here. He says Xander comes on the show to kiss Dan's ass. Have a backbone, kid. Shamari, I got more of a backbone than you'll ever dream of having in your life. You must be new here.
Sam Darnold, 208. I mean, dude, Joe Burrow looked terrible.
Joe Burrow is brutal, Sills. Brutal. We need to talk about it because you've been crowning the guy. He looked brutal.
He did.
Brutal.
And don't tell me that's Jamar Chase.
And he wasn't even under pressure. Terrible. I mean, he just looked awful out there. He doesn't look the same. And I think people in Cincinnati are wondering what the hell's going on. I mean, look, we're concerned with Jalen Hurts' 3 turnovers. He didn't look as bad as that guy. Jalen made plays. The problem with Jalen this week was that his highs were highs and his lows were lows. So you got to get those lows a little bit higher. But Joe Burrow he couldn't even put up.
Why it's horrible, Xander? He's in the same freaking offense with Zach Taylor. Jalen's in a brand new offense, new terminology. We said it. There's going to be there's going to be up and downs at the beginning of the year. You kind of know that. There's no excuse for Joe Burrow to play like that.
No,
There's
you're right.
Absolutely no excuse. I mean, and then you turn around and look at Dak. I'm going to make a point here. 19 of 32. All right. I mean, if you really look at it, Allen and maybe CJ and Tua, the rest of them, I don't know. I didn't really think Jared Goff played superstar ball. He had 200 yards, and you know what I'm saying? I mean,
I mean, look, it was week 1. So I think a lot of people looked like it was week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm more talking about all the quarterbacks look like it was week 1. The big name quarterbacks, I'll tell you who really looked good? Baker Mayfield. I'm going to throw a question at you here. Who do you think Cleveland would rather have right now, a quarterback right now, Deshaun Watson or Baker Mayfield?
Shit, Baker Mayfield looked great yesterday. So I think I don't know what the hell happened to Deshaun Watson, man. It's crazy. And did you see the one video?
That's a confidence look.
I know, but who's that? The veteran offensive lineman they have who was on the ground and jumped on a fumble from Deshaun Watson, and Watson goes over to help him up. And Petonio whacks his hand away. They seem to have a bunch of problems there in Cleveland. So
I don't think they believe him.
No, they don't. But there seems to be deeper problems there than just the player. I mean, look, this is a guy who was a top 5 quarterback in the NFL not that long ago. So what happened? It's got to be something deeper than just I forgot how to play. I don't think he forgets how to play. So interesting, but a big demise there in Cleveland, and they're going to have to eat that contract for a couple more years, no doubt.
How about this? And this is what I said at the top. And isn't it funny? Okay, well, let me hear you. Give the Eagles a grade in your mind on what you think they played like. Me, I think they played like a C-, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But what do you think? Yeah.
No, I don't have C-. I thought closer to a B, somewhere in there. A lot of room for improvement, but I thought the defense was better than expected.
Well, there's not a lot of room for improvement. If you gave him a B, me at C-.
Well, no,
I think there is a ton of room, and that you won a game at a C- level. You're talking about winning a game at a B.
I mean,
that's not a lot of room for improvement.
There's still plenty of room for improvement. I can get to a B plus.
Don't you see where I'm at?
I see what you're saying. I'm not knocking you for it. I just think when you put up 34 points with 3 turnovers, you have a better performance than a C. Did they have things they need to clean up? No doubt. But we beat the Packers pretty. We beat up on them in terms of how many points we put on the board, and we have a lot left a lot on the table.
And you gave up 400 yards in total offense.
Yeah, but that's we.
But we did say this together.
Yeah,
hey, yeah, we did. We said that.
It's a bend but don't break day. You're going to give up yards. Yep. So, I can't look, we talked about that, with the yards. How about the 6 points they gave up when it should have been 14-0?
That's the game.
That's what won that game. I'll tell you this. I think Vic, and this is where I think maybe John and I are at opposite ends with this, because I think that John thought that defense would play better. I didn't. I was shocked they played that well, actually, because I was
shocked by the defensive line. I thought the defensive line was going to have their way versus the Packers O-line. They didn't end up doing it. And, both D lines were they didn't do much in the game. So I don't know if we're chalking it up to the field or whatever, but
a little of that.
Yeah, a little of it. But like I said, it's the NFL, man. You can't just use that as an overwhelming
they both played on it.
For everything. Right. So, but the defensive line didn't do anything in the game at all. Bryce Huff was absolutely nowhere. We put him on the milk carton. They got to be better, but the no-holes defense didn't disappoint me this week.
How about this? Are you concerned about the 2 DTs? Because a lot of investment of 2 first-rounders. I mean, it's one thing to sit there and say that the Green Bay Packers also gave some yards up. They don't have 2 ones in the middle there invested. You got a 9th pick and a 13th pick. And get this, Xander, if you're going to go back for the last 10 games, they're averaging giving up 139 yards a game rushing. That can't happen, dude.
Well, how many yards did we give up rushing on Friday?
I think it was 163.
Rushing yards?
Yeah.
No way.
I thought it was like 163 that they gave up.
Let me look real quick, just because I want to.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm
wrong.
You were.
I think you're honestly wrong. I haven't bashing.
Or did they give up 144?
I do think it was much less than that, but let me look real quick just to see where we are on the 163. You're right.
They gave up 163.
I was thinking more Josh Jacobs, who only had 84 yards, but you had that Jaden Reed run for 33 yards, and Emmanuel Wilson had 4 carries for 46 yards.
They gave up 163.
Yeah, 163. So Big Sills is correct, no doubt. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of rushing yards given up. So I'm a little concerned on the DTs. I thought, like I said, I'm not ready to make the proclamation after week 1, but they were nowhere to be found. And, going into the game, I had Jalen Carter as being the difference maker, the X factor for the Eagles to win the game. It certainly wasn't him. It wasn't him. It wasn't Jordan Davis. Is conditioning going to be a problem again with these Georgia guys?
They were.
It wasn't week 1. So
get this, in the second half, they pointed it out. Josh Jacobs was averaging 9 yards a carry in the second half against the Eagle D line.
Yeah, he came out swinging in that second half for sure. No doubt.
I mean, there's a problem when Brandon Graham is playing more snaps than Bryce Huff and then Nolan Smith. I mean, that's not going to lie.
I agree.
To me, you know what happened? I think that Vic went like this. I can't trust them guys setting the edge. And they put Brandon out there. And he did. I thought he played better than anything they had out there. But, boy, I'll tell you what, they had to go to the old dog to kind of calm it down just a little bit and slow it down.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, look, it's definitely a little bit of a concern. We got to see those guys get better and continue to play. But I'm not worried about them yet. Look, week one, I'm giving them a little bit of a hall pass here. I know I am. You don't have to. I am though, and I think they're going to turn it around for sure.
You think? Okay, I just see again. I give people credit.
Off, I'm not giving the pass to because he wasn't even on the field. They didn't even want him on the field. Like, what does that tell you about Vic Fangio's feeling on Bryce Hoff?
He knows he's not a 3-down guy.
I said it to John, and John's like, oh, BG had one more snap than him, and Nolan had 2 more snaps than him, or whatever it was. And I'm like, John, this is a guy that got $17 million.
$51 million.
This isn't Brandon Graham on his retirement tour making $3.5 million. This isn't Nolan Smith who's done nothing yet in the league. This is a guy who got paid. You're telling me now our only projection for him is going to be 45% of the snaps? And then other people were like, well, they didn't have as many passing downs to get him out there, and they had the short fields a couple of times. And I'm like, okay, great. So you're admitting we paid $17.5 for a one-trick pony who's not even going to see the field on half of our snaps because they're not passing downs. That's trouble, in my opinion. I don't know what Bryce Huff is going to be. Hopefully he can turn it on, because I do remember, you got to give him some time, because I will say, if you remember when Hassan Reddick was signed, it took him, I think, 6 weeks
absolutely
to get going. I remember putting him on the milk carton, on your show, and you were rightfully so to call him out, but he got going. And once he got going, man, was he good. So I do want to give him a little bit of time, but that snap count was definitely a little bit concerning to me. By the way, speaking of Hassan Reddick, man, you're giving up $800,000 a game right now, plus a $5 million fine for everything you missed. Who is advising him?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's insanity.
It's
Get this. You want to hear something?
Look, I want to see all these players win. I want to see them all get their money, and I just don't understand. He's either getting terrible advice from his agent, or he's not, or he's blatantly not listening to his agent.
Listen what you've done. Say you sign a deal for $20 million right now, today. You ready for this? You've already surrendered $6 million. Say you get 20. You're back to the 14 that you were making anyway this year. If you sign next week.
It's incredible.
And if you keep going on, pretty soon you're going to be playing for free. I mean, dude, this is not going well financially. What was that guy? Le'Veon Bell. You remember when Le'Veon Bell pulled that bullshit in Pittsburgh, where that guy he threw like $18 million in the trash can. They lit it on fire.
And he got paid. And he got paid from the Jets and then did absolutely nothing.
Exactly. They moved him, and then the guy didn't see the grass greener on the other side, and he's out of the league now.
Yeah.
I mean, man.
And that's money you'll never get back.
Never.
You'll never get it back. So I just don't understand, what he's doing. Like I said, I like to see all the players make their money, man. Go and make your money. I love it. I love seeing them. Huh?
Even Dak?
Don't bother me, man. Look.
$240 million, babe.
I know, but the analysis of the football team is different than what I'm talking about right now. Like when the players get paid, I think it's a great thing. I mean, it's reaching a crazy level. Quarterbacks getting $60 million a year, but good for them, man. These are guys that, they're making good money. They're entertaining the whole world in a way. And it doesn't bother me to see him get paid. I'm happy for Dak because shit, man. Now we got Dak in Dallas for a little bit longer. He's a good quarterback, but he doesn't win there. They don't win. They haven't been a threat in the playoffs since he's been there, and he's been there for 8 years.
You know what I would tell you, Xander, if I was him? Hey, I'll see you on Tuesday on direct deposit day.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Xander, what's your definition
in that game?
What's your definition of winning? Because I'll tell you what my definition is of winning on Tuesday on direct deposit, homeboy.
That's true.
Okay. Oh, hey,
I'm not that lucky though, man. I just analyzed the game, and I don't make anywhere close to $60 million. So
I'd have to rob Fort Knox to get that dough. Hey, dude, those 2 tackles being out, Mike Zimmer moved that guy to every deficiency they had in the offensive line, and Michael Parsons was everywhere. I'll tell you what, though, as good as he was, T.J. Watt destroyed the Atlanta Falcons. He single-handedly destroyed the Atlanta Falcons. Kirk Cousins was awful.
Kirk Cousins was brutal. You know who was great in their game yesterday? Well, no, not that game. I'm talking about a different game real quick. Micah Parsons. Oh, man. He was a problem yesterday, Sills. I was laughing because me and John had the debate kind of all off season where I'm like, look, he's a great player. I don't think he's a generational talent. And then he goes out there and he just terrorized that offensive line. And I was just like, oh boy. I mean, he's going to get paid next. And classic Jerry, right, to wait to the last second, extract as much media out of it as he can, and then give him the top dollar. So no, but you're right. TJ Watt was a beast yesterday. Kirk Cousins sucked. Joe Burrow was my big takeaway. He sucked yesterday. He was tough to watch. I mean, I had that game on. I'm like, this is tough to watch.
Yeah.
So no doubt, but yeah.
Finally, Quinyon Mitchell, give him a grade.
Quinyon Mitchell, I'll give him a B plus. Give him a B plus. You know, I thought he was pretty. Look, it's his first game in the NFL, right? I mean, there's gonna be some acclimation period, and I thought he answered the call pretty well. I love the energy he had out there. I love the smack talk he had. You got to back it up, but he did. I thought, especially on Watson and that start of the game there on that first drive, but. I think we got one in Quinyon Mitchell, man. I think we got a guy that could be an all-pro type of corner here. Obviously, too early to say that yet, but I think Quinyon Mitchell. I think we got one at cornerback, and I think we're in good hands for years to come. And by the way, I was happy with Slay. You know, I was a little concerned on Slay. Not that I thought he wasn't going to be great or was going to suck, but I was just concerned Father Time was going to hit him. You know, he didn't have his greatest season last year, and they didn't even throw at him. No. Like that tells you they were just the whole game plan was just avoid Darius Slay. So I thought that was a good thing for sure. Flexion, you've been saying no play Slay, but my man, no plays yesterday or Friday because they didn't even throw at him. They didn't even try.
They didn't test him. They didn't test him at all.
They didn't even test him. I think he had one target.
That's crazy that they didn't have that. So
and A brings up a good point too. Slay forced that fumble. Eagles did not recover it. But he did force that fumble on Josh Jacobs, which was good to see because, we've had problems with him in the tackling game. So that was good.
Jalen Hurts, baby. Jalen Hurts, 58% completion percentage in week 1.
He got to be better. He also threw for 278, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 13
Sounds like that.
Yeah.
Hey, here's what I'll say finally in parting. I'll say this to you, Xander. He plays good enough to win games for sure. But does he play enough to win championship football?
Well, look, we were on the brink. He's got some things to clean up. So I think championship football is not turning the ball over. So, he's got to clean that up. But if he does, I think we're right there, man. I think he can do it. And this team is good enough around him. This isn't a Patrick Mahomes situation. This isn't a Josh Allen situation where we need him to be Superman. We don't. We need him to not turn the ball over and get the ball, on time and on target.
No,
we're not asking him
to be who he is, Clark Kent. That's all he has to be. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
thank you very much for saying that. He's Clark Kent. He'll never be Superman, but
I didn't say that. I said he doesn't have to be in this offense.
That's what I heard. Hey, by the way, I want to thank everybody for coming aboard on the pre and post game show this past weekend. You guys were absolutely sensational, man. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it here. Had a bunch of people on, man, with us, and it was awesome. I was pleasantly surprised by all the folks that came in and were ready to rock and roll. And everyone's like, oh, I see. It's a different setup doing a post-game show than it is doing this thing here because you're more apt to go out there and confirm your takes like, dude, I told you the kid would have a bunch of issues getting out of the gate. We saw it. Now, like I said, I think they got a lot of room for improvement. I do think that offense will improve, Xander. I do think it'll improve with more reps. I thought that game against Green Bay, Xander, was a rep issue. I didn't really think it was a talent issue. It was a rep issue, just not having game reps.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, I think they're going to clean it up. By the way, the post game was tremendous. Loved doing it with you and Johnny Mac. Great results. I thought we had great number of views, great number of people in the chat. We had a lot of people contributing with super chats and all sorts of support for the channel. So that goes a long way. Obviously,
new members
on the air. Yeah, new members. And then our I don't know if you caught it at all, but when I let you go, Sills, I had some fans on the show and they did not disappoint. Senor says, my last guest was phenomenal. And he was none other than Akbar, who was on the show. Akbar was a little boozed up in his man cave.
Nice.
He joined the show. Oh man, he was in rare form, Akbar. And he was so it was great, man. We had a lot of fun on the post game show. I enjoyed doing it and appreciate each and every one of you guys if you were there for being on the show. Abe was on as well. We had a couple other guys who were on that I don't remember everybody's name right now, but we had a bunch of people on and it was a great time.
Angelo's coming up. I wonder what he's gonna say. He picked.
I'm gonna go get the pot. My pot in the kitchen. I'm gonna go and do something to catch a crow, baby, because we gotta cook up some stew for Angelo, man. Come on. He said this team was gonna get walloped by the Green Bay Packers. That did not happen at all. And this team is not winning 5 games, bro.
No, they're not.
Sills. Let's just think about that.
I'm not getting off.
They got to play the Giants and the Commanders 2 times each.
I still think 9 wins.
You got to play the Falcons, the Saints, the Cowboys twice, the Bengals, the Ravens. I mean, dude, 5 games. You better tell Angelo that he's on that retirement crack. And that's is strong because 5 games is absurd.
He's coming down. He's coming on at the bottom of the hour.
I can't wait to listen to it, no doubt. Where's Akbar? Is he in here in the chat, man? Akbar was great.
Hey, where are we right now?
Shamari, I want to say, Shamari, thank you for your service, brother, but I didn't appreciate your comment, so I clapped back at you. He's a veteran, though, and I love our veterans. My brother's a veteran. I care a lot about our veterans, so I did want to apologize to him, but he came in here dishing me, and I'm like, me and Sills debate 3 times a week. What are you talking about, Shamari?
Absolutely, Shamari.
But anyway, I appreciate your service, man.
Very good. Where are we in the like list right now, Xander? Guys, please hit the like button.
Flexen, you're delusional, Flexen. You're delusional.
No, hey, Flexen, I got 2 more wins than you do. I got 9 wins here. So where are we, Xander, in the like list before we take a time out here?
There's my man Akbar. Akbar was a legend. I mean, he was
all
Akbar, man.
Rocking and rolling.
Akbar, I might have to have you on weekly after the games, man, on the post game show. You might have to be a weekly contributor to the post game show because he was in rare form, Big Sills. By the way, I did post that segment on the channel if you guys want to go watch it. It was really
sauced
great.
up too.
Yeah, he was sauced up.
Good. Dude, by the way, my drinking was impaired on Friday because I couldn't. So I was, I've
never heard a guy. I'm concerned for Sills, everybody. I've never heard a guy cry so much over not being able to drink for 18 days of the year. I mean, come on, Sills. It's not like I'm asking you to go 6 months here. It's 18 days of a year. And we got to do a post-game show. I mean, come on, man.
I got it, man. So what are we at, around 250? That's really good here, man. We really appreciate that.
Let me check for you. Yeah, 259. So good stuff from everybody. Appreciate all the support in the chat right now.
Absolutely. Xander, great stuff. We'll catch you tomorrow on Birds 365.
All right, Sills. Thank you, brother. 1-0, baby. 1-0.
Angelo Cataldi, right around the corner. Do me a favor. Hit the like button. You guys have been great. Will Angelo eat crow at the bottom of the hour? WIP, Philadelphia sports icon. Angelo Cataldi next here on the National Football Show.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save at Southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wild wood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Dak is back. Damn, Dak Prescott and them Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? Hit the like button. Big sells. Woo! Dallas took apart the best defense in pro football yesterday. Okay? Cleveland was the best defense in the NFL last year. And they took them apart. Took them apart. Their defense crushed them. By the way, too. Okay? I mean, Dallas looked pretty good. They looked pretty good yesterday. You guys kind of stumbled around a little bit with your new offense. And hey, I'll make a statement to you. Dak looks 10 times better under Mike McCarthy than he did under Kellen Moore. Let's see now. I mean, talking about a guy who just got a $240 million deal. He's won, what is it now? 13 of, wait, let me see here. Wait, let's see, 12, 13 now. He's 13-5 in the last year ago and now. And plus he's won 36 games in the last 3 years. I mean, okay. And he's coming off of leading the NFL in touchdown passes. We'll see, though. I'm still not sold Dallas. I thought Zeke Elliott played pretty decent. I did. Angelo Cataldi's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Hey, Yale, you know who else produced? The other wide receivers for the Dallas Cowboys produced outside of CeeDee Lamb in that game. They produced. They got some issues, man. Okay? Get this. Joe goes like this. Sills, congrats. The Clown Boys destroyed a shitty Browns team. That shitty Browns team had the number 1 defense in the NFL last year. Guy. Packers blew last year on defense. That was the number 1 defense in the NFL. Joe Ho. Hey, Joe Ho. You crazy? That was the number 1 defense in pro football. Yeah, that's what 215 is right. Browns aren't shitty. Watson's shitty. Watson is, man. Okay? Joe Ho. Woo! Okay? Joe Ho. Here's Angelo. Do you like a cheap suit now? It's Dallas. Can't see right through you. Trying to break balls. Eagle fans up. That's not true. They played well. Hey, shut up, Angelo. They played well. They played better than what I thought. What the F? You keep talking about last year. Keep talking about last year. Well, you haven't addressed anything from a year ago. You still suck against the run. Your pass defense gave up yards. You gave up 34 points. It's not like you gave up your league average a year ago of 26 points. Now you gave up 34. Your defense hasn't been fixed. How you doing? You're making it sound like you guys get out of that game playing great defense. You still the same shitty issues. Nothing's been addressed. No pressure. Can't stop the run. And your pass defense is still suspect. And I agree with Xander. Slay played really well because nobody tested him. And again, if you notice one thing that I said, I never said, well, Love played like shit. The Packers played. That's not an Eagle thing. That's a Green Bay, Matt LaFleur issue. Okay? Let's see here. We gave up 29. I forgot, Crowley. I said that you'd give up 50. That's why I said I'm pretty surprised you played as well as you did. I'm shocked, and I am. Come on, Prince. Prince making it sound like you guys play great defense. Your two DTs suck right now. They need to get in better shape. Come on, boys. Let's play a little better. Big Sills wasn't wrong. Big Sills was nails on. Sills, you picked Green Bay. I did, no doubt. I also said if you ran the ball more than 25 times, which kind of blew my doors off, that you ran it 38. You ran the ball more than you threw the ball. Congratulations to you. That's how you're going to win. You're not here. What you did is the thing that Baltimore needed to do. Okay? Matt LaFleur is a genius. Your guy, Nick Sirianni, is a pool boy. He's a pool boy. Matt LaFleur is actually a coach. Nick is a pool boy. How you doing? Okay? Matt's a great coach. Yes, I do agree. Okay? Let's see here. Matt LaFleur couldn't beat the 31st passing defense. Hey, and your guy couldn't throw for over 60% versus the shittiest defense? Who throws for under 60% in today's NFL? Wait, Hurts. That's not true. Joe Burrow sucked worse. He did. Late throws and INTs for Jalen. That could be fixed. What Joe Burrow did against New England, the Patriots might have the worst roster in the league. They might. Hey, no, you're right, JM. Your boy played great. Seals, doesn't Sirianni get credit for managing the game a lot better than LaFleur? No, Big Dom gets more credit for managing the game than Nick Sirianni does. Big Dom is more of a coach on the sidelines than old Nicky. Seals, do you think Lamar is a better passer of the football than Hurts? Nope, I do not. I don't. I think Hurts is better than him throwing the ball. Little Nicky is a doorman. Angelo Cataldi will join us in a couple minutes at the bottom. He's a doorman. I thought Jalen played well against the blitz. I did. I thought he played pretty well against the blitz here. Let me go over some of the performances from this past week, and then we'll get Angelo on. And at the top of the hour, we'll reset everything again. Josh Allen was the best offensive football player in the league on Sunday. 34-28, 332, 40 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns, 137.7 quarterback rating. He was insane. And I agree with Shady. Has to be a guy that is the favorite to win the most valuable player versus Mahomes. He and Mahomes, unbelievable. He was unbelievable in that game. And remember something, Josh Allen's got to carry everything. Okay? Sills, Eagles, number one hater, Clickmaster, and you're the King Master Debater. How you doing? How you doing? Akbar drinking beers on the post game. I love it, Akbar. Way to go. Derek Carr, New Orleans, put up 47. They beat a shitty Carolina team, 47-10. 3 touchdowns, Derek Carr. I'll tell you what, I hate Dennis Allen, the coach of the Saints, but they whooped him pretty good. C.J. Stroud might just throw the best football in the game. We'll see what happens tonight with Aaron Rodgers, but wow. Come from behind victory over Indy, who was a good team. Stroud had 2 touchdowns, 234, and was great. What a fiasco going on with Miami before that game with Tyreek Hill getting arrested. And then they come back and win. In the second half, they beat Jacksonville 20-17. Tua had 338. Hill had 7 catches for 130. Good stuff. Had a touchdown in the game, too. Sam Darnold picked up for J.J. McCarthy being injured. Out of the gate, 208, 2 touchdowns. They pound the New York Giants. Just killed them. I don't know if you're John Mara, okay? If you're John Mara, I don't know how you don't look at them and go, what are you guys doing with my football team? And you allowed Barkley to walk out the building, and you saw what Barkley did in the opener against the Packers. Has to be frightening. Also, Angelo will join us in a couple minutes here. New England upset Cincinnati 16-10. I have no idea what Cincinnati was doing in that game, and Joe Burrow looked terrible in that ball game. I mean, that you have to be better than that. Whew, wow. I mean, Cincinnati had what? 70 yards rushing or some shit like that. I mean, it was terrible. The whole thing around. Classic Pittsburgh win. 18-10 over Atlanta. Next opponent for the Eagles. Justin Fields, 17 of 23, 156. 57 rushing. Had 6 field goals in the game. Total Pittsburgh type win. Field goals, defense, and TJ Watt. Chicago had 150 yards in total offense and won a game. And they beat Tennessee. I mean, Chicago's offense has got to be better. Caleb Williams has to be better. But, man, that was terrible. Chargers, J.K. Dobbs, 136. Good for him, coming off an injury. As they beat the Raiders 22-10. I thought Herbert was good in the game. Typical Jim Harbaugh gets a win. You know, Jim Harbaugh is now 45-19-1 as an NFL head coach. I don't know this. I know this. If you want to win ball games, you hire a Harbaugh. You hire a Harbaugh. Okay? I mean, he's 45-19-1 as an NFL head coach. Dallas destroyed Cleveland 33-17. Browns have a lot of problems. I agree with Xander. I mean, their coach, Kevin Stefanski, is a 2-time NFL Coach of the Year. He's a pretty good coach. Dak was 19 of 32, 179 touchdown. Most importantly, he got a $60 million annually over the next 5 years, making him I think he makes now as much as Roger Goodell. First $60 million man, pro football history. So whose contract is up next? Mahomes. How much if Dak Prescott got $60 million, how much are the Chiefs going to have to pay Mahomes? Dak just got 60. $5 million more than Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow. How much are you going to pay Pat Mahomes annually a year? Look at what you see what Dallas just did to Kansas City. You know, teams were going up in increments. 66, 56, 56-2, 56-9. They were kind of just inching up. Okay? Before I get Angelo on, look at what the Cowboys did to the NFL. When you pay a guy like Dak $60 million, you know whose contract is next? It's Mahomes. Okay? You know Mahomes right now is the 13th highest paid quarterback in the league. When he signed that $500 million deal, okay, it made him the highest paid deal. He was only making he makes 45, not only, but so Dak makes $15 million more annually. Do you understand that Clark Hunt is going to have to pay him $65 to $70 million annually? Finally, somebody making more than that guy that sits in D.C., Roger Goodell. Thank God, finally. Hey, best benefits in the NFL, go to the commissioner. Guaranteed money. Guy doesn't take a hit. About time someone makes more. You know, hey, can't just be about the owners and, oh, Raja. Let me tell you something. Do you know why it's important to have Angelo Cataldi on here today? You see, Angelo on Friday goes, Sills, if that Packer team wins or if the Eagles beat the Packers, I will be here. Like he was for over 40 years in Philadelphia, either on the newspaper or on the radio. You know why? It's called accountability. Unlike some of the people on IP where there's a problem, they hide and they can't really say anything. Angelo shows up like right now. Here he is, the legendary Angelo Cataldi. Angie.
I just got to tell you, Dan, to start with, I've had a lot of experience being wrong. So it's not that hard for me. But I think people sometimes think what I say means now I'm rooting for that. I was thrilled they won the game. I felt the city is so much of a better place to live when the Philadelphia Eagles win a game. And I just got to make one comment. You just mentioned Roger Goodell. I just got to say it because he was in Brazil. He was in the stands, and they showed him in the fourth quarter with his wife, and he was beaming, happy. It was good. Where was that shot in the first quarter when they couldn't stand on the soccer field because it was too slippery? That's the new. You understand? The news is Goodell reacts to the fact that the stadium might not be great for football rather than wait till things settle. Now we'll show them. The real story was Goodell in the first quarter when these guys couldn't stay on their feet. But anyway, I digress. I just want to start with this, Dan. I was wrong. I'm glad that I was wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong about the 5 wins. But I just got to say, I will attempt today the impossible. I will attempt not to be a killjoy for the people in Philadelphia who are very happy their team is 1-0.
Okay.
There were some real good positives that came out of the game. And then, you got to get to some of the negatives, but there was some good positives.
Okay, how about this? Then I'll tell you what I'll do for us. I'll start it off by this, and I'll throw this at you here, Angelo. Can you win a championship with a quarterback in the last 18 games that has 23 turnovers?
Well, here's the way I'm looking at that. The third one, the pass in the end zone, was horrific. and you can't win with that. The first two, I give him zero accountability for. Zero. Because that is a byproduct of not playing in the preseason, especially the snap with Jurgens. You could have ironed that out with 3 or 4 series, just a few series. Get in the rhythm of an actual game. What you're doing when you're having a joint practice is not a game. You could convince yourself it is, but it isn't. Those first two, that whole messy start. God, the Packers were a mess too, right? It was awful football in the first quarter. I'm giving him none of that accountability. If it's coach or his bosses, if it came from up high, if it came from Lurie and Roseman, let these guys play. Get them ready for a season from day one. Not giving him any of the accountability for that. But that interception, that could have been fatal. And that, I don't know. It was a strange day for Hurts. It was a strange game.
How about this, Angelo? Then you'll go here with this. See, to me, I'm with you on the turnovers, and I said this. The turnovers are concerning, obviously, because for you to win championship football, you've got to have low turnovers. However, my problem was the late throws. They were everywhere in the game, and you're saying that's a byproduct of not having reps and exhibition football, because if one thing showed its head on Friday, I was more surprised how well the defense, some people were going, Sills, they still gave up 400 yards. I'm like, I thought they were going to play worse. Actually, Angelo, I thought the game was won where they converted those 2 red zone opportunities. Instead of having 14 points on them, they held them to six points. They held them to 2 field goals. I thought that was the game.
It was huge. Now, I'm trying to look at this objectively, and if I'm being objective about it, I was astounded at the play calling by the Packers, right? Especially fourth quarter. They're on the doorstep. They're at the 8-yard line with 8 minutes to play. And they run for 6 yards on the first play. It's 2nd and 4. They tried 2 passes in the back of the end zone. Very hard plays to complete, when there was a ton of other more logical ways to go with it. But maybe the Eagles shut it down. I can't take that away from them. But 29 points, even with those 2 big stops early after the turnovers there, 29 points and 414 yards, they're not going to win a lot of games. They're not. They were fortunate that the offense stepped up when they needed to. And the number 1 plus, let's do it, Saquon Barkley.
Oh, yeah.
All this devaluing of the running back position when you're trying to do a contract. If you watched the games yesterday, and I watched all of them all weekend, running backs everywhere were critical to the success of the teams that won. And Barkley as much as anyone. And that was a great signing as long as he stays upright. That guy is a lot better than most of the guys at that position.
How about this, Angelo? He's on pace for 404 carries. Now, obviously, that's a number out of the gate, and that's not going to happen. But, I mean, the one thing you got to look at here, though, is can he maintain this amount of work? I mean, how much are you going to work here? Here's a guy that's carried the ball most in his career, 290 times. I mean, are you really looking to carry the ball and have that kind of tonnage? Now, I said this. I did pick the Packers to win, but I said if they run the ball more than 25 times, the Eagles will win that game. And I was shocked they ran the ball 38 times in that game. Can he maintain that type of workload, in your opinion, throughout a 17-game season?
Probably not. But I can tell you, as a fan, the most irritated I was in the entire game was when the Eagles were in the red zone and Kenny Gainwell was in.
Oh.
And I'm going, no, we're back to Kenny Gainwell.
Why?
And so I'm yelling, why do we pay this guy $40 million, whatever we're paying Barkley, when we're using Kenny? I can't stand Kenny Gainwell. He can't block. He's very limited. There isn't another running back. Let me put it this way. On the touchdown pass to Barkley, there is not a running back on the Eagles in the past generation that could have made that catch.
Wow.
That was a brilliant play by Barkley.
You think he's got more talent than Westbrook?
Absolutely. Well, he's bigger. He's a lot bigger. He's a bigger target. I don't think Westbrook could have gotten up there, right? And Swift, who I loved last year, he couldn't have got up there. Barkley is stuck. Man, he can do everything well. So to answer your question, no, you shouldn't be giving him 400 touches in a season. When you're in the middle of a game, he's your choice. He's so much better than anyone else. So there's always going to be that temptation. I fell in love with him watching him Friday night. That guy he's a baller, man. He's good.
Man, he really had impact plays. Here's something that is a little bit troubling as well. Last year was a major trouble down the stretch. Reuben Franks was talking about this a year ago, how they were giving up a lot of yards versus the run. They gave up 163 yards against the run against the Packers, and they were averaging 10 yards a carry in the second half with Josh Jacobs there. Here's two guys you have, Angelo. You have a 9th pick and you have a 13th pick that you've put that equity into. And those two guys, in my opinion, this goes back. I think this whole conversation goes back to what you said about exhibition reps, because they looked gassed in the second quarter.
Yep.
And those two guys just looked out of shape. And the Packers took a full advantage of that. Does that trouble you?
No doubt about it. It troubles me a lot because the Eagles' defense is going to be an issue this whole year. Not because they're not good at either element of it. They are not good at covering the pass. I'm sorry. They're just not. There's still guys open all over the field. You know how many drops the Packers had in that game? How many drops? I mean, wide open receivers that Love either missed or it was in their hands and they dropped. They would have had 500 yards easy. And second half, I guess they adjusted somehow because they were just gashing the Eagles' run defense. That is a problem. See, this is the thing. The reason I picked against the Eagles, the reason that I've been so down on is that I still had that. I still could smell that stench of last season. How awful they were at the end of the year. The good news is it didn't really carry over. But the bad news is there were still signs of it. And the signs of it with that defense were worrying me a lot. But I'll say this, they came up big when they needed to. And you know, my favorite thing in the whole game, I love when this is how the Eagles made it to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. So they got a lead, it's precarious, and they get the ball back with 7 or 8 minutes to go. And they just eat the clock down to nothing. I think it was 22 seconds when they gave the ball back. That's the most fun. When you keep 3rd down and 4, you get the first down, the clock keeps running. I love when you keep it out of their hands. I think that's my favorite thing about what I've seen from the Eagles in the past few years. They've been really, really good at that, and they'll continue to be good at it with Barkley. But the other thing, too, I just want to mention this because this is so shocking. This kid, Baum, the linebacker. Baum, let me just say.
Eagle record for tackles at 15 with 2 sacks.
And he's a linebacker.
Unbelievable.
You understand? Eagle linebackers under Howie Roseman do not do that. They do not do that. And I'm going, where did that come from? And Nakobe Dean, he looked good. He not great, but good. Yep. And that's the Dean we thought we'd see a couple of years ago. Very aggressive, little undersized, but fast. The linebacker position, when you think about how many runs they gave up in the second half and how many passes were wide open, this you can almost never say with the Eagles. The linebackers were the strength of their defense on Friday night. What are the odds?
Oh, absolutely. Angelo, there's a new product that's being sold at Wawa. Xander, can we get that milk carton up, please, for a second? And there's a brand new drink that's being sold there at Wawa, and it's a little bitter. Xander, I need the milk carton if you can here, and we'll get that up here.
I know where you go with this, Xander. I know where you go with this.
There were a couple guys, and hopefully Xander can find this, but I'll get the milk carton up. But there's an SOS going out for Bryce Huff right now, and boy, I'll tell you what, for them to have BG
Right.
have more reps
Right.
than a $51 million guy.
Yeah.
I can't believe what a miss that was. I mean, that's got to be
Wow.
troubling that your top guy was not there.
I forgot he was on the team.
Yeah.
So I went to the snap list on Saturday to see how many snaps he got. And he got 30 snaps, which, by the way, does not match the amount of money they're giving him. And here's a great stat. You could use this all week, Dan. Hassan Reddick still holding out. I don't think he's still not playing tonight, right?
No. Actually, tonight he lost $800K and he's been fined $5 million. So get this, Angelo. If he signed now, he'd be fined $6 million. Which, if he got 20, he'd still make 14, which he would have made anyway this year.
Not great, but anyway, he will not play tonight for the Jets. However, it is already certain that he and Bryce Huff will have the same stats after week 1. Nothing, and nothing.
Absolutely. Hey, I've got to ask you this. Is A.J. Brown the best wide receiver in Eagle history?
Well, people that love Hal Carmichael will fight you on that. People that love Mike Quick will fight you on that. But I saw them all, and I'd say yes. Ray Didiger might fight you with Tommy McDonald, too.
Sure.
You know, different era, different thing.
Yep.
This guy can do everything. And the thing about him that I love, too, is he does it all with attitude. You know, somebody gets in his face, there's going to be a brawl. You know, he's walking around there. No, I'll say this again, and we didn't see Dotson at all, right? He's the third guy. But this is the best receiving core they have ever had, in my experience. That they are so deep. And they got Barkley, who's a great receiver also. They've got all of that. And I'm happy to say at least a somewhat of an upgrade in play calling over what we were used to a year ago. Even when they were 10-1, the play calling wasn't great. Moore's play calling was better. It wasn't great, but it was better.
How about this, Angelo? I thought the one thing that I noticed, and you and I probably look at the game the same way, and I tweeted this out when I was watching the game. Didn't you find it odd that Nick Sirianni was talking to wide receivers? He was talking to O-linemen.
Yeah.
He was talking to running backs. He was talking to the janitor. Him and Big Dom were having a couple cannolis together on the sidelines. Then they had a nice cappuccino together. But did you notice that the one person that he was not involved with at all in any way, with any conversation, was Kellen Moore, the quarterback coach, and Jalen Hurts? I mean, I don't know about you, because I think keep an eyeball on stuff like that.
Right.
I thought it was really odd to see that a head coach had no communication with his quarterback whatsoever. How'd you take that?
Well, I have this TV link where I can hear the actual commentary on the sideline. And when he went up to the offensive line early in the game, they show a shot of him there. He said, "Hi, guys. I'm Nick Sirianni, the head coach. Nice to meet you." Because he's not in any meetings anymore. He's not part of any of the strategy. To see him involved on the sideline was, to me, highly amusing. Because I went, well, I guess he's privy to what these game plans are, but he certainly didn't have any input into making them. We know that because the two guys that are in charge are in charge. And maybe it had something to do with special teams, because after a whole training camp, they still didn't know how to line up right for the opening kickoff. So I thought Nick might have had something to do with that. No, it's hilarious because he's a powerless coach on the sideline appearing very involved, but I don't know with what.
I found that to be weird. Now, this was a story last week that we were told that happened, because I didn't realize, and I know Mitchell ended up going in there, but there's a couple friends of mine that are on the coaching staff, and I got a depth chart, and I saw that
Devin White wasn't starting. And all of a sudden, this was on a Sunday, I think it was. And I also didn't see that they had Isaiah Rodgers out there. Well, get this. They made that decision. They still took Rodgers to Brazil with them, and they kept Devin White back. I heard that this guy blew a gasket so bad that they kept him behind.
Wow.
And he had an ankle injury, the same ankle injury that he had in Tampa a year ago when the contract wasn't going well. And he had been beat out. Angelo, he wasn't, his ankle did not cause him not to win that position. That Dean had beaten him out. But once he found out, they didn't take him down to Brazil. Isaiah Rodgers, they brought down to Brazil with them. And there was rumors going around. I think a couple people at ESPN were saying, I think Jeremy Fowler was saying that the Eagles were trying to shop Devin White right before the final cutdown. So again, he was a problem in Tampa. That's why they walked away from the 5th pick in the draft at 25 years old. You think there could be a problem here with this here moving forward? Because they need some depth at that linebacker position. And this guy looks like the problem that he was in Tampa, and he's brought it up to Philly with him.
I don't like what you're implying here at all, Dan. Are you suggesting that the Eagles are hiding some dissension in the ranks? Because Bob Lang, I know, and the people that run the PR department over at the Eagles are as full disclosure as you could ever hope for. And I got to assume later today, they will issue a full statement on the circumstances involving both of those players, because they're really, really great at that disclosure. You know, the thing is, do you realize now you're never going to find out?
Oh, never.
Because the Eagles are not going to tell you. And there's nobody left covering the team that will get to the bottom of stories like that, right? But Dan, you're making me much more negative than I wanted to be today.
No, Angelo, listen, they got to win. They got to win. I mean, but look, I mean, I said this a year ago to them. I go, when they had New England and they beat them, I went, that's not a championship football team. They're going to win games. They got a lot of talent on the team. But Angelo, my problem where I'm at with them, and I think this is, see, you know what you and I have to do? We have to make other people feel better about their lives. So what we do is we make them feel better about their lives by telling them a little things so that they can feel better about their lives. And then we come in with the reality of it and the truth and all that, and people get upset with it. But what you tell them is this: you're so close to winning a championship. We're talking, you and me are talking championship football. We're not talking about winning 10, 11 games here. We're talking about closing the deal and running through the tape. That's a problem that I have with them. You do everything right. Contracts, money up front, all that. The evaluation with pro personnel, getting Slay in a trade, AJ, all that. You do great things with that. However, you do a lot of things that are wrong when it comes to running through the tape. And to me, they're this close. And that's why I have a problem with some of the things that you and I point out. We point out, hey, giving up 163 yards rushing, 10 yards a carry. You're not going to win games doing that. No pressure on the ball. They had no sacks except for Vaughn.
They don't have a pass rush this year. And they did this because, Reddick was, they were probably right. Reddick's out of his mind. What Reddick's doing is self-destructive.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. You signed a contract, play out the contract, and you get paid. That's the way it works. So he's getting terrible advice, but they're going to miss him because, boy, his Huff looked like nothing. I mean, I hope he shows up at some point, but he was completely invisible in his first game. And wouldn't you think, you want to make a good first impression, even if you jump offside, just let somebody know you were there.
I'm over here.
Yeah. I forgot he was on the team until Saturday.
Hey, finally here. Okay. People have been asking me ever since the post-game show this weekend and now here. Angelo, are you ready to amend the 5 wins, or are you going to, as I do, hey, it's week 1, I'm with you still. I think it's going to be a tough putt uphill for that team this year. Still, are you ready to amend, or are you sticking with your 5?
All right. My son's a Giants fan. It's a long story.
Oh, God.
He talked me into putting $10 on the Giants to win outright against Minnesota, right? So I watched some of the Giants games straight up. They really, really stink. I mean, they're awful. The commander, that 5 number really was fun in the moment, but it's seeming now a tad low. But you're right. I'm not. Why do I have to fold?
No.
You just dealt the hand. Let's see a couple more games, and then I'll acknowledge to everyone what they already know, that is, I'm an idiot. But
I'm with you.
Not yet, because you're right. It's a big gap between 5 and 12 and the Super Bowl. They're probably somewhere in between. How's that? All right.
I admire you so much doing that, because you're like, wait a minute here. There's 17 games. So there's one of the wins.
Yeah.
Who cares whether it's week 1, week 2?
Right.
Okay. Because Atlanta didn't look very good.
No.
Kirk Cousins, I watched that game. Kirk Cousins, man, he was terrible. Bijan Robinson was fantastic in that game, and he's a good-looking player. And I think he's going to be some trouble for the Eagles on covering that guy this coming Monday night. But I'm still with you there. I think that Atlanta team's still going to be an issue for them a little bit come Monday night, because they got some talent.
I'm more nervous about the next week, Dan, because I'm going with a whole 200 some people to New Orleans for the game in the Superdome. And I have predicted the Eagles win there, and the Saints looked fantastic.
47 they put up.
But they put up 47.
I know.
And I was starting to go, oh, great. We'll go in there and we'll lose there. And now I'm on the plane, and the people are throwing stuff at me going, yeah, you're the negative. You caused this, you jackass.
Hey, wait, Angelo, do me a favor. How can people sign up for that? Can they still sign up for it, or do you got your people?
Yeah,
how they can do it?
I'm not sure if there's anything left on the actual trip, but you could still get onto the charter jet that would take. And you could probably get a better deal than if you flew there. It's phillysportstrips.com. And the last time I looked, the actual full trip where we're going on cruises and all this other stuff, we're having a Q&A with Hollis Thomas, that I think is booked, but there's still room on the plane so that on the way home you could throw stuff at me. If I get what I was promised, I'll be right up front. I'll be an easy target.
Angelo, are you going to go on a riverboat or any of that down there when you're down there?
You don't know too how much I hate boats, but Hollis said you have to do a booze cruise.
A boot. Now I know why you hate the yachtsmen, because you don't like going on boats.
Listen, when Hollis Thomas tells me to do something, I do it. It'll be a hell of a trip. My wife is coming, and we'll come home 10 pounds heavier.
Yeah, great food down there in New Orleans for sure. Angelo, make sure you folks check out his blog. Also, he's making a trip down to New Orleans, so there's still seats on the charter. You guys can sign up and go down there. I know Eagle fans end up traveling well. By the way, I thought they traveled great to Brazil. There were a bunch of Eagle fans down there too. I saw some Packer fans in there, but hey, that field was ridiculous too, that the NFL put those guys on. Hey, you notice the commentators didn't say anything about it because they were told obviously not to.
Oh, and one other thing. Can I just get this in? Tom Brady was awful. All right.
I thought he was too.
He was just bad. All right.
He was.
Why is he doing this?
Why?
Why does he have to do this? He's got to put a suit on, and he's got to and then he's got a real high pitched kind of squeaky voice, and he made comments that were like Captain Obvious, and he really sucked.
Oh, he stunk.
I never was able to say that when he played.
Yeah, of course.
He really sucked. He should not be doing this. And somebody gave $375 million.
And Fox gave him 10 years, $375 million. It's Angelo. It's funny you say that, because Jason Kelsey threw kind of a shot at me in a way, because I said that I took what Jalen said and I go, yeah, well, Jalen's talking crap on it. And he goes, well, some media guys are making that into being a bad thing, and I wasn't making it into being a bad thing. I just said, hey. He said basically that you held him back and the organization held him back from developing as a quarterback. So I said, now, wait a minute here.
Jason Kelce was a great center. But as a broadcaster, let me tell you this to you. You don't get any equity with me. I've been doing this 34 years.
Right.
And Tom Brady doesn't get equity with me for being a broadcaster too, Angelo, because look, when it comes to you playing, you were spectacular. I got no say in that. But when you talk about being a broadcaster, you're in my pod now. You're in my pod.
100% right.
You're going to have to learn, Jason, what broadcasting is about. You're going to have to take the shots, give the shots.
Yes. And I don't think Brady will. And I have my doubts about Jason, who I love, but maybe over time. But these people that he's talking about right now are people he faced on the field. He has relationships. It's going to be very hard for him to do that. And if they're not being honest with you, if they're not giving you the negative with the positive, they're not doing their job. Screw them. I'll rip Jason Kelce too. But Brady sucked.
He stunk. But you've got to be willing, right, Angelo? You've got to be willing to lose friendships when you get into this business. Because if you don't, you're not going to last.
Well, that's it. That's why currently I have 0 friends.
It's only me and you, Angelo. That's it.
It's only you. And you call me once a week, max. So it's not that close.
But you know what? I think that's what we like about one another.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want more of that.
No. Yeah, I think we're in the same room. Tell your wife and your lovely wife, have a great trip going down there again. We got to see what happens on this Monday night. Thank you so much for finding time. Make sure you find the blog. Make sure you also go to Amazon. Get the book. It's also in audio, too. Angelo, it's always great having you on, my friend. Thank you so much.
I love football. It's back.
Yeah, there he is, Angelo Cataldi. By the way, no crow eating. 5 wins. Why would he pull back on that? Why? See, we're 2 of a kind, he and I. We're 2 of a kind. Hit the like. Where are we on the like list here, guys? Tell me where we are in the like button. Where are we on the like list? We'll talk a little bit about tonight's game, too. And we'll also, again, reset here in a second about what happened in that game on third. 298. We got 300. We got a shot at 4. 300 likes. Thank you. You guys are great. Please hit that like button. I want to get to 400 by the end of the program. We're going to reset. This time on the reset, I'll go to your comments. Sills and Angie, share a cannoli. Well, that's what the greats do, senor. Senor. That's what the greats do. They share cannolis. Might give us agita, but we share cannolis. Hit the like button. Keep it here. Power Hour coming up. Keep it here, National Football Show.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save in Southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid
as long as you face the fear.
and keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Rick Still Power Hour. Please hit the like button. We'd like to get to 400 likes by the end of the program. By the way, ready? I'm all jacked up about the start of the NFL season. Holy cow. Hey, there's no crow eating here. What are you, nuts? Predictions. We're going to reset. I'll do it all again here, so that everyone gets the fill of what we saw in that game this past Friday. Oh, and I got one more time. Say it with me. Josh Allen, MVP. Tomorrow, my quarterback week 2 rankings come out. Where do you think Hurts will be ranked? What do you think Burrow will be ranked? Also, my top 10 power rankings for teams. Did the Eagles go up or down? You know, it's funny. Week 1, we didn't have a lot of great performances, I didn't think. If you look at all the teams that performed over the weekend, I thought the Ravens probably were one of the top 3 teams in performance. The Ravens could have beat just about any team that played on Sunday. Could they have beat the Bills? Yes. Could they have beaten New Orleans? Yes. Could they have beaten Texans? Yes. Could they have beaten Miami? Yes. There wasn't a team on Sunday the Ravens couldn't have beat. Okay? And I agree. It's funny. I point that out because I tweeted that out. I thought Tom Brady was terrible. Screwed up a bunch of names. I mean, I didn't know what he was talking about half the time. Just because you're a great quarterback doesn't mean you're a great broadcaster. He was terrible. Tony Romo's better. Hey, Greg Olsen is better, but it's about reps. Let's see, continues. Get this, Senor goes, Lamar couldn't throw to his receivers. That's because he doesn't have any. He doesn't have receivers, but he's not a good thrower or passer of the football. Okay? Senor goes like this. Good thing the Eagles played on Friday. The Ravens would have beat your ass. They played the world champions. They would have crushed you. Okay? Crushed with that 170 yards rushing on the ground. Zay Flowers is great. Since when? Right now? Tony Romo's the Tom Brady of broadcasters. Funny, but true. Funny, but true. How you doing? All right. First week of the NFL season. I think we learned nothing about the league and teams this past weekend. We learned one thing. Kansas City, nobody showed me over the weekend that they're ready to take Kansas City off the top perch. There's not one team I watched over the weekend or Friday that could knock Kansas City off. Nobody. Hey, Sue, we'll get to that San Francisco and the Jets game tonight.
Josh Allen was the best offensive football player on Sunday, and TJ Watt was the best defensive football player on the field on Sunday. It is. I'm awake, are you? It's early, Sills. No shit. Calm down and follow along here. I'm awake, are you? I know you get your little panties in a bind. Look at Brian. He's always smart. There's a few Sue, Brian, Big Bob. There's some smart people in here. And then again, there's legendary Eagle fans. You know what? And I want to make sure, all kidding aside, it's okay to have the great optimism because you know why? Here's the one thing that I will agree with Angelo. You won. You did. You won. And I have a different take on it. Xander thinks it was like a B effort or a B plus or whatever he said. I think it was a C minus effort with a lot of room of improvement. Because if that's a B effort from the Eagles, you have no chance of winning a Super Bowl. You're telling me a B effort, and then you're telling me you got one click up, A, you're not going to win any games. I look at it the opposite. I don't think you played very good football and you won. There's so much more room for improvement. I think there's more room for improvement than that being closer to your best game. If you say you had a B effort in that win over the Packers, you don't have a lot of room for improvement. BA, you say C minus, you got a lot of room for improvement. Shit, I'll tell you what, if the Eagles actually, in my eyes, played a B plus, they would have blew the Packers out. Hey, Spurger, you're looking at it, though, wrong. You're looking at it wrong because you won. I don't think you played very well. Dude, you think 414 yards of total offense and defense with no pressure outside of one guy, and your two tackles gave up 163 yards in rushing, and your quarterback was 58% and had 3 turnovers. You think that's B football? If you think that's B football, you're not winning shit this year. You're not winning shit. That's C minus ball. 3 people played well. AJ, Barkley, Bond, with a few other dudes playing decent. Okay? I think you're thinking I'm saying this as a negative. I'm saying you got a ton of room where you can be even better and beat teams playing B plus ball. You're missing it. You get too sensitive. You're too freaking sensitive on this. Okay? 84 yards by Smitty. I thought that was good. I did. I want to do this hour here one more time by starting it off by doing this. Hey, Packer fans, you're all assholes if you think Jalen Carter meant to hurt Jordan Love at the end of that football game. People were getting into arguments with me on my Twitter that he bent his league back and he did it on purpose. He had every chance. No, he didn't. That football field was atrocious. And God knows what the footing was out there, too. There is no way Jalen Carter has temperament where he was trying to injure that guy and give him a catastrophic injury. That was absolutely not true. It was not true. And Packer fans are telling me, oh, he meant to. No, he did not mean to do that. Okay? Here, let's see if Forrest has a good take. Usually he doesn't. Good. To win 34-29 like that with a young team and new coaches, that's impressive. Okay? Holy cow. It only took you 4 hours. Where the hell did the Packers get that spin? He's laying on the ground, sat up and tried to tackle him laying on the ground. I know, Jeff, I thought it was asinine. Okay? That's true. Sills, we're lucky no one else injured and got injured on that field. Absolutely. Sills, physical talent versus will to win. Okay? You can have Joe Burrow. I'll gladly take Jalen Hurts. It's a great take by you, finally. Look at you, man. Bro, who would have thunk? Forrest Hill. Really? Shocking. It was luck, not skill. Don't get it confused. Yeah, Jalen's on, get this, Matt, is on pace for 5,100 yards with 34 interceptions. Woo! Woohoo! He's a 30 for 30 guy. He's on pace for Jameis Winston numbers. $5,000, 30 touchdowns, and 30 interceptions. How you doing? Hey, Matt, you're on pace for 34 picks. Woo! There you go, Jalen. 5,100 passing yards, 30 touchdowns, and 34 picks. Hey, Matt, got you there, didn't I, a little bit, huh? Not that I'm a mathematician over here. I went to Miami, as you know. Or, yeah, okay, senor. So wait a minute, senor says that. Look at this. See here? Where is he? That means that Barkley's on pace for 400 carries. How you doing? All right. Let's see here. Josh Allen didn't throw an interception. He had four touchdowns, a 137.7 rating. Whoa. What a stud. Oh, we're going to have to get Mark Holmes on this week. Okay. Hurts on pace, baby, for 34 INTs. Stills loves Josh Allen. So does everybody in the league. Stills personally hates Jalen Hurts. How could I personally hate him? I don't know him. Here we go. Let's reset here. 34-29. You played C- football and you won. Congratulations. That's right, with a ton of room of improvement. One side of the ball was ready to play. The defense. I was shocked they actually played in moments when you needed them to play. Second half was terrible. The first half is where you won the ball game, especially in the opening drive. Okay? Yeah, here. Let's just show you here. What is it? Joe Howe. No, when you draft a guy who wins 3 Super Bowls and goes to 4 of them, you don't hate him. Okay, Joe Howe? You don't hate him, Joe Howe. Josh Allen, 2 rushing touchdowns and 2 passing touchdowns. What a stud. 80, yeah. Come on, Joe Howe. Oh, no. They count when you don't. Hey, get this. See here? Rushing touchdowns don't count. Well, when you're the only guy in the huddle, they have to count. When you got Saquon Barkley and you got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, how do you throw for under 60% when you got A.J. Brown? Think about this. You got one guy averaging 23 yards a catch. I don't even know what Devontae averaged. Hey, guys, what did Devontae average? How could those guys have those kind of numbers and Hurts throw under 60%? How's that possible? How is that possible? That he was the worst guy in the huddle. How's that possible? How's that possible? Poor choice making. Yes. Let's get to it. 2 stars in that football game by far. Zach Bond and Saquon Barkley. They were superstars in that game. I can't believe Zach Bond will not play like that against Atlanta. And if he does, he's on his way to being all pro. There is no way Zach Bond is going to play like that. Because I'll tell you what, Xander, proclamation time. If Zach Bond plays like that on Monday night against the Atlanta Falcons, Howie Roseman found one of the greatest. Did they trade for him, or was he a free agent? Jordan Love blew too. Great. Hey, what's your point? He sucked too. What's your point? He sucked too. He was a free agent. Well, that will go down as one of the absolutely great finds of all time if you get another performance out of him like that. That was unbelievable. That was and he don't cost you. He's not costing you anything. Okay? I mean, he was fantastic. Jalen Hurts had a better completion percentage than 50% Jordan Love. Vaughn was a free. Congratulations. Way to punch down, Senor. Well, he was better than Jordan Love. Jordan Love stunk. He stunk too. Hey. There you go. Mr. International. He's on it. Okay, wait a minute here. I don't need that guy's ass. Where is he? Here you go. Be Defensive Player of the Year. Okay. Absolutely. Be Defensive Player of the Year. Okay. Right? Baker Mayfield, baby. Baker Mayfield played better than Hurts and Love and Burrow. That's why I said, you don't think they want Baker Mayfield back in Cleveland right now? Okay. Look at this one. Oh, Trevor, you're fantastic. Sills, I still saw 2023 offense at times with Hurts missing guys. Now, let me say this to you, my friend. Do me a favor. Don't keep bringing that up like that because you'll start upsetting people that Hurts looks the same as he did in 23 in the first game. Because he did. That was 23 Hurts on Friday. That was not – he was no different than he was last year. Is that fair? Let's start there before we go into some of the takeaways we had. That's a really great take that you had. Who did that take? Who did that take? Who did that? Who wrote that in the chat? When he ran the ball, Abe, he looked like 22 Hurts. Abe, he won the game because he ran the ball in the fourth quarter, not because he threw it. Trevor S. It was me. Trevor said that Jalen looked like 23 on Friday. There it is. That's a great, fabulous take. So let's take Trevor's comment here and ask. No, I never said they couldn't run. I said they wouldn't run. Get the shit out of your head again, Jay Brown. I know you want to hear what you want to hear because on Friday I said if they run the ball more than 25 times, they'll win. And I don't think they will, but they did. No one said that, dickbag. No one ever said that. You're making things up. Okay. Back to Trevor's great take here. And look at Senor. I'm not talking about every other quarterback. I'm talking about your quarterback. Did he look like 2023 on Friday? Yes or no? Jalen Hurts. Dan also said that Saquon wouldn't make an impact because they wouldn't run him. It goes hand in hand, DRC. Jesus criminy. Brains, common sense, try using them. Holy cow. Did you see Jalen Hurts 2023 Friday night? Yes or no? Let's see how many people can answer this. Brian says, 23 incoming. Mr. International. Michael. Behind the scenes. Xander, if you're still there, did you see 23 on Friday? I think it's a great question. Is that the same guy you saw a year ago? Friday night. "23 with motion." Hurts at times looks like he makes up his mind pre-snap because he can't read. Wow. Well done, guys. You're right. Trevor S., you get to take it a day. I never thought about that. There was no difference in Jalen Hurts in that opening game than what we saw a year ago throughout the entire season. He's right. I never looked at it like that. There's no improvement. Where's the improvement? Missing throws, late on throws, turnovers. Where's the improvement? Now, 95%, Jalen said in the offseason. I mean, at one point in the game, Jalen was 4 for 4 with 64 yards and a TD versus the blitz. That's a great one too, KJ. I'll put that up. Fat Matt goes like this. Yes, just like the Pro Bowler who was second in turnovers. That overshown 13 from Dallas looks really good. Dallas does. Dallas looked great against the number one defense in the NFL a year ago, for sure. Hey, repost that on the blitzes, my friend, if you can, because that was really good. That was a really good take because that is an improvement. Hey, listen, like I said, whoever did that on the blitzing, on Hurts was out there. I think Jalen was 6 of 7 for like 84 yards total versus the blitz in the game. That's an improvement from a year ago. So is it 23? Not exactly. Okay. Yeah, he was a Pro Bowler with 20 turnovers. Congratulations. So is Baker Mayfield a Pro Bowler? So is Baker. I'll give him 4 games to judge more. Has to stop dropping his eyes to run. He did do that. Okay. Let's see what Slager says. Usually awful takes. Hurts was 15 of 21, 212, and 2 touchdowns when the Eagles used motion. Without motion, he finished 5 of 13 for 66 yards and 2 picks. That's a great take. That's a great take. You asked me, none of these quarterbacks look great. Yeah, you're dead on. I don't think really anybody looked great, including Dak. You're dead on. Dead on. Tomorrow, the National Football Show with Dan Sileo. Eagles are trash. Once again, RTF, you don't get it. We're talking championship setting here. We're not talking about winning 11 games. You're talking about dumb shit. I'm talking championship football, the difference between it. Okay? Holy cow, guy. Try striving for a little bit higher than just wins. Like a title? You're close. Please hit the like button. Okay? That's what we're doing here. Dude, Carolina, you don't trash. You know why you don't trash Carolina? Because the thing is a trash can. What are you going to trash? You know, I'd probably be more optimistic if I covered Carolina. Because I'd be talking from the depths of the worst. You know what? They got killed, but they improved here. They got a little better here. Bryce Young sucks. They may have to get another quarterback. Bryce Young's too small. He's just not cutting it. I'm disappointed. I really wanted him to really be good, but it ain't happening. Daniel Jones just sucks. Out and out. Bryce Young's just too small and he's just, I don't know. That's not going to cut it. Carolina needs a quarterback. Okay. He'll never fulfill what his college career was. Can I tell you who I think he is? He's somebody like a Tommy Frazier kind of guy, or something like that. You know, I mean, he's not even RG3. RG3 was 10 times better than him. He's just not good. He's a quarterback that came out, and you're like, I can't even make a comparison because I've never seen him in a good moment. Just not good. Like, he's never had it. Like, Daniel Jones has had good moments. That guy's never had a good moment. I mean, that's a shame because I think a lot of him. I mean, he's just not very good. How did you see 23? He was changing protections. Okay. Good point. Well, he was 58% in completion percentage. He had 3 turnovers and 2 picks. He was late on throws the entire time. And he was not effective in the passing game. Did well on the blitz. This is exactly my assessment of him. I thought the pass to Barkley was outstanding, set up by AJ and Devontae as decoys. It's a great play. But the rest of it, he was good on the blitz. But the rest of it, late throws everywhere. There were about 6 late throws. I mean, that thing could have been even worse than it was. And in the last 18 games, Devin, he's had 23 turnovers. You can't get away from that. Silsic is extremely exhausted. He likes Daniel Jones. Okay, guy. Thanks for being here and hanging out. Appreciate it. Sounds like deja vu. They're calling Dallas the best team in football. Not me. After week 1? What are you, crazy? Steve, I know you're not saying that. Dallas the best team. Now, it's a good defense. Dallas the best team? I don't think so. Okay. Who does Dallas have this coming weekend? Who do they have? New Orleans? Do the Cowboys have New Orleans this weekend? Do they have New Orleans? That'll be kind of an interesting ball game. Jalen needs improvement, anticipating throws. Okay? He's getting used to the playbook. Well, DRC, how come when I say that it was going to be bumpy on Friday for the kid getting out of the gate, you had a bag with it. Now you see it. It's what it is, right? Cowboys play the Saints. That'll be an interesting ball game. You want to hear? Hey, I'll make a proclamation here. I'll take the Saints in that game. Sorry, 304. I'll take the Saints. Is it in New Orleans or is it in Dallas? It's probably in Dallas because they were on the road in Cleveland. I'll take New Orleans. Okay? I'll take New Orleans. I'll take New Orleans in that game over Dallas. I'm not sold on Dallas. No way. You got to do more than one game. Get this. That's why I'm telling you about the Eagles. You guys are sitting here telling me, well, they played B+ football. I think you played C- ball and won. I think you could play this coming weekend or Monday night against Atlanta, I think you get this. You want to hear this? I think you could play against Atlanta, see football, and beat them. I think you could play C football and beat them. Be close again, but I think you could play C football and beat them. I do. We haven't seen the Eagles play an A game in 2 years. Probably since the Super Bowl. No. Dolphin game of a year ago. I'd say the last time you played a really good game was the Dolphin game of a year ago. That was a really good football game. Seals, would you say that since we play C grade, does that mean that you can see the potential in the team? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're a C. See, Abe, what people are getting is that I think that they're a C team. They're not a C team. They're not a C team. That's not what I'm saying. No. I think there's massive room for potential. Watch this. Quinyon Mitchell's going to get better. Is Zach Ball? Here, let me, how about this one? A team with a C minus performance and a team that's going to get better. Can Zach Bond play 2 games in a row like that? Wow. I want to see that. I'm looking forward to Monday night. Can Quinyon Mitchell continue to improve? Will Jalen get better? He's got to. Your season resides on him getting better, not A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith getting better. Those guys are going to get their – one thing is for sure, those guys are going to get their numbers. This is about Hurts being better. This whole season is about Hurts getting better. It's not about Zach Bond. It's not about Quinyon. It's not about AJ. It's about Hurts not turning the ball over and getting better. He has not played championship football. Maybe since overtime Buffalo. That's it. Overtime Buffalo is the last time you saw him play championship football. Yeah. Would you agree? The last time you saw Jalen Hurts play championship football was overtime versus Buffalo. Okay? Okay? That's the last time. DRC, I believe he's going to get better too. I do. I think he's going to get better. Guys, please hit the like button. Michael, thank you so much. This is really cool. Hills, what do you think about Kellen's bootleg package? I think rolling Hurts out of the pocket can lead to more explosive plays and to help Jalen see the field better. Michael, I saw that. One thing I don't want them doing, don't roll him right. Roll him out left. Where does he have a propensity to roll? Every time he gets out in the pocket, he rolls right. And it's becoming a tendency, is watching him roll right. Roll him the opposite way, even into sometimes the short side of the field. That's right. Roll him into the short side. Don't do shit predictable, because every time he rolled, his comfort zone is rolling right and open to the wide side of the field. You go back and watch it on the 22, 90% of the time he rolls right when they move him in motion and get him out in space. Well, I know that. I got to be cognizant of setting the edge out there. Okay? You got to be a little cognizant of that it's becoming a trend. The players, defensive players and coordinators look for tendencies. Okay? They look for tendencies like that. And Hurts' tendency is to roll right. Get him out left. Change the trend up. That's the one thing that Kellen did that I thought was great on Friday. He got the tendencies And there wasn't really a tendency that he had in that game. Okay? There really wasn't. Everything was pretty much even aboard. Hey, by the way, 38 runs, 30 passes. Is that what he was? 34 passes, 38 runs, whatever it was. Okay? That's balance. John McMullen doesn't think that's a thing. Well, you had balance in that ball game. You had 30 carries plus you had 30 throws. Jalen Hurts throwing the ball. Remember what I said? If Jalen Hurts throws the ball 45 times, you lose. You would have lost that game if you threw it 45 times. You ran the ball more in that game. You won. If they stick to that formula. Now, again, the game is going to dictate that. And what I really liked is that they didn't let the game get out of hand because they had those 6 points instead of 14 early. That's where the game was won. That game was won in the first quarter. That game was won in the first 13 minutes of the ball game. When they held them to 6. Seals, remember when Jalen threw the TD pass last season against the Bills? He rolled left and threw the TD. Maybe left side is better for him. Yeah, but again, you don't want to get involved. Hey, let me ask you guys something. Xander, are you here, Xander? Or someone can help me. When he threw that interception across his body, was he rolling left? Was he rolling left and threw it across his body? He rolled right. Okay. Well, he rolled to his tendency. It's not about Jalen Hurts. It's all about the defense. That's not true. Okay? Your defense is going to play the way it played against Green Bay for the next couple weeks. Get used to that. That's how that defense is going to look. You had no pressure, but from one guy. One guy had pressure. One guy. That was it. Ball had 2 sacks. No one else had any pressure in that ball game. No one. I mean, Nolan Smith was nowhere to be seen. Bryce Huff was nowhere to be seen. The real Seal, he rolls right. It's an automatic dead play. Yeah, because it's becoming a tendency and predictable. That's what he does. Not true. Check down would have helped out a lot. There was a check down play Dak made yesterday where Dak could have ran but passed the check down and got the first down. Dak can read defenses better. Dak's a better passer of the football. Still, Jalen was the reason the game was close. Yeah, on both ends, the turnovers and the running ability. Yeah, you're right. Jalen Hurts was the reason the game was close. No question. Good and bad. You're right. Yes. Oh, James Earl Jones passed away? That stinks. I loved him in Conan the Barbarian. We did have pressure, not as much as I would like, but like who got pressure? Josh Sweat had some pressure. This is correct. AJ and Smitty are proven. It's Jalen that needs to improve. The other guy's already done that. You're right. Hey, once again, Jalen Hurts looked like 2023 on Friday. With a twist. He did better on blitzes. He did. That's a good thing. There's improvement. One thing at a time. And no, there's 2 things. His passing ability is 23. But he ran and he was good against the blitz. Right? Keep Coach Roseman. Oh my God, I saw that, Disciple. You see Elf on the sidelines down there doing that whole when they scored, him running down there. What a glory whore. He really is. Howie Roseman's a glory whore. You see him, man? Holy shit. I had to post it too on my Twitter page. What a hooker. Holy cow. He's on the sidelines cheering. The only guys I've ever seen on the sidelines are owners. And there's Howie. Holy shit. Glory whore. Man, there he was. I was like, what's Elf doing on the field? There he was. Holy shit, man. Hey, tell the truth. Shortest guy in the field was Howie Roseman. Not even the kickers. Oh, man. He has to let everyone know, he has to let everyone know that that's his team. It ain't Nick's team. Hey, that ain't Nick. Those are my boys. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Last 7 minutes of the game, I had flashbacks to 22. Hey, that's right, my friend. That's right. He looked good, man. When he ran the ball, he was frightening. Elf Roseman. Still, imagine if the Eagles had a complete passer with these weapons. Say that. What are you, crazy? You're in an Eagle place, man. You can't bring that up. These guys will have a heart attack. Okay? I mean, Howie on the sidelines. That was, hey, Marcus, you saw it too, right? You see Howie on the sidelines? I was like, who needs their taxes done? Does somebody need their taxes done? Because there's Roseman and Associates. I was like, what's he doing there? Oh, the glory whore. They're on the sidelines. Ugh. And you said it exactly right. I know that. So does the rest of the league knows that. They know he loves to roll right. It is so predictable with him. That's right. You got to get over that. You got to roll him the opposite. Kellen has to see that. He has to see that. I mean, every time they get him out in space, that's where he's at. Dan, could you imagine Manning and Kelly Green? No. Which one? Eli? No. Okay. Fat Mac, it had nothing to do. Dude, your defense is nowhere to be ready. It's not ready yet. Why are you putting that on them? You knew this. I told you this. You went like this. Our defense needs to get better. Who thought you had a good defense? You did. I didn't. You gave up 400 yards and 163 yards rushing. Who said you had a good defense? You guys have been saying it to me. The other guy, Elliott Spitzer Shore Parks guy. Hey, by the way, just keeping score here with Elliott Spitzer Shore Parks, Jalen doesn't throw a pick until the very end. There's a world record of records of Guinness Book of World Records for nobody throwing an interception in an Eagle camp. The guy has 3 turnovers in the first 60 minutes of the season. Hey, what's up? What happened? Hey, Elliott Spitzer Shore Parks. The best thing about him being in Brazil was that you couldn't tweet. That you couldn't tweet. That was the best thing about him being there, was that you couldn't get any of that bullshit out of him. Okay? They don't have a good – Slager thinks you have a good defense, giving up that amount of yards and no pressure at all. Okay. Slager, I disagree. Sills, imagine Nick Foles in this offense. No, don't go there. Stop doing that. Okay? Okay, I'm going to give you my thoughts on tonight's game. We'll do that here in a minute. Who you got tonight? All right, I'll do that. Hit the like button. Where are we in the likes right now, guys? Where are we in the likes? This is a pretty good game tonight. I think you're going to be shocked where I'm going. I thought Mike Zimmer did a really nice job. Okay. Where are we on our likes right now? Ooh, nice. 347. Let's see if we can get that number over 350. Way to go, guys. Dual threat is back. Not worried. Jalen is clutch. Says Des the Jew. I like it. Nice. Hit the like button. I'll give you my thoughts on tonight, moving forward versus Atlanta for Monday night. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Thank you guys so much for your day today and what you did over the weekend for the pre and post game show. Thank you guys again. So please hit the like button. Next time we have one of those pre and post game will be on Monday night. Boy, I thought Atlanta would look better getting out. They were at home too. I mean, they were at home and Kirk Cousins was terrible. I'll tell you what, you blitz him up the middle and you get pressure on him. Now, do the Eagles have anybody like TJ Watt? No. That will be an issue versus Cousins because you pressure him. There is no doubt how you beat him is putting pressure on him. But if you don't put pressure on him and you leave him back there in the pocket, he's going to pick you apart. Mike Tomlin brought pressure, and internal pressure too. But TJ Watt was completely unblockable. They could not stop him. He single-handedly, I thought, wrecked that football game. So I don't think you have the pressure. Now, is Zach Bond going to be TJ Watt? Hey, Yale, who's that guy that Vic Fangio used down in Miami last year? And that dual role of lining him up and rushing him and dropping him back in coverage. Who was the guy? What was his name? Van Ginkel? Van Ginkel? Am I onto it here? Like that, right? Van Ginkel. He looked like that. He looked like that guy from last year. And so, like, that's kind of what he looked like against the Packers. So if you get that guy doing that kind of stuff, man, I want to see him do it again, though. All right, so tonight's game. Jets and 49ers. I don't know why I don't. Niner all day. You're probably going to hate me on this one here. But I don't know, man. There's something about the Niners going into this year. Can they go back again and be the dominant team in the NFC? I want to see it tonight. I want to see them put it on display. I think the Jets were so disappointed from a year ago that Aaron Rodgers played 4 plays that entire season. They played 4 plays. They were a terrible team, and I think they won 7 games. They're loaded on defense. They got personnel on offense. Their offensive line's improved. It's going to be about protecting Aaron Rodgers tonight. I got the Jets upsetting the 49ers tonight. 31-24. I think Rodgers goes for 363 tonight. 2 touchdowns. He's going back home. Played his ball at Berkeley. He's a California dude. It's been a year of no football for him. And quite frankly, I would say this to you. He hasn't played meaningful football in 2 years. The year before, he was hurt. Didn't end well in Green Bay for him. Had one of his worst, if not worst, year. I think, I don't know what he does for the remaining season and how far he could take that Jets team. But I think this is a statement game for him. And I like Aaron Rodgers tonight. I'll tell you what he's going to do, too. You watch. He plays well tonight. You're going to have a ton of people eating a lot of crow tonight about that dude. But if the 49ers come out and smash this guy, whew, you talk about heat in New York, about playing quarterback. Get this. Daniel Jones is praying tonight. Hey, Yale, are you in here? Check it out, Yale. Daniel Jones is praying that Aaron Rodgers plays like shit tonight. See? It ain't just me. He's praying that they play like shit because Daniel Jones is proving one thing. I'm sick and tired of Duke quarterbacks. Dave Brown. The Notre Dame guy from Duke sucks too. The Notre Dame guy that they brought in, they got beat by Northern Illinois over the weekend. He sucks too. And then you got Dimes Jones. Not very good a lineage of quarterbacks that are coming out of Duke as of late. Okay, I mean, that guy at Notre Dame sucks. He put that team, and it just was not good. That was not good. Okay? Yeah, okay. Notre Dame getting beat by Northern Illinois. Okay. All good, man. I appreciate you guys. Where are we on the like list right now? Hey, don't talk about Dimes Jones like that. Notre Dame is going to lose again. Hey, you want to hear this? Last 5 years, Brian, check it out. Yeah, I got the Jets in an upset tonight. Brian, last 5 years, Brian Kelly was 54-9. And in the last, going into his third year, I think it is, Marcus Freeman is 20-9. He's lost 9 games. He was 54-9 in 5 years at Notre Dame, Brian Kelly. And this guy heading into his third year has already lost 9 ball games. I mean, Marcus Freeman is, if he loses he loses 2 more games, he'll be fired by the end of the year. Be fired by the end of the year. And they'll be looking for a new head football coach at Notre Dame. And don't be shocked if it's somebody like Urban Meyer, because he coveted that job. The last time Sills doubted us, we won the NFC. All right. We shall see, my friend. The Rodgers effect. I love trolling Sills. Congratulations to you. I'm awake, or you. Okay. I wonder, can he recruit? Hey, Des the Jew. Let me say this to you about Notre Dame. Who cares? Do you know how I cheered Northern Illinois beating Notre Dame? That made my weekend. Des the Jew. Watching Notre Dame lose made my weekend. All right. Hey, thank you guys so much. Please hit the like button. Xander, Big Joe, we appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we shall see you on the flip side.